A king must always be prepared to defend his throne. The Bellator Grand Prix are where the champion's rivals assemble to fight for his title and contest for the tournament's treasure. Tonight, the quarterfinal round of the light heavyweight tournament rolls on. Reigning champion Vadim Nemkov rematches with former title holder Phil Davis. Their history in the Bellator cage is intertwined. The split decision win for Nemkov established him as an emerging force in the division. The all-business, no-nonsense Russian hitman went on to capture the belt from Ryan Bader.
It is all over!
Now the Team Fedor phenom sits atop the division, poised to take on all challengers. Davis has returned to his wonderful winning ways since the fight with Nemkov.
If there's a champion that wants to shut me up, I'm here, baby.
Now Davis is ready for payback, but Nemkov is planning for a more emphatic victory in their reunion. The other quarterfinal matchup features two dangerous dark horses. Corey Overtime Anderson stamped his ticket to the tourney when he pounded out a convincing win over Melvin Manhoef.
Victorious in his Bellator debut!
Double John Yagshimuradov is the mystery man of the field. This KO artist has dominated his rivals overseas en route to 2 international MMA titles. And now he makes his American debut as he pursues the biggest prize of his career. Tonight is an opportunity for fighters to make a statement to this stacked field of mixed martial artists. The Bellator Light Heavyweight World Grand Prix continues on Showtime. Bellator MMA is moving at a breakneck pace for the 3rd consecutive Friday. We are at the Uncasville Arena, Mohegan Sun, here in Uncasville, Connecticut for Bellator 257, and it features 2 more quarterfinal matchups in the light heavyweight World Grand Prix main event. Sees Vadim Nemkov defend the 205 strap for the first time in a rematch against Phil Davis. Davis looking to become the first ever Bellator 2-time light heavyweight champion. In the other quarterfinal matchup, the highly touted Corey Anderson welcomes Double John Yagshimuradov to Bellator. Yagshimuradov has won 8 straight fights. Alongside Big John McCarthy, I'm Mauro Ranallo, and Big John, let's talk about the championship fight. When Nemkov and Davis met back in November 2018, Nemkov prevailed via split decision, but Davis was coming on in the 3rd and final round. Now, all championship and tournament fights are scheduled for 5 rounds. How does that impact their game plans going into the sequel?
Well, if you're Phil Davis, that impacts it by saying, I won that 3rd round. I was coming on and he was dying. I need to make this the 4th round, and I need to start fast. I start fast, I push him over the cliff. If I'm Nemkov, I gotta look and say, hey, that was 2.5 years ago. I got the victory, and I'm a better fighter today. I'm faster, I take better angles, I have bigger power, and I am a better wrestler by far now. So I can take everything you have, and I can push you off of that cliff.
All right, the black and blueprint from Big John. And you know what? These tournaments are where fighters dare to be great, and we've got a couple of mouth-watering quarterfinal matches coming your way tonight. Ryan Bader has already advanced to the semifinals. He will face the winner of tonight's battle between Anderson and Yagshimuradov, and of course, for the first time in the tournament, the light heavyweight championship is up for grabs in the main event. Let's go to Jen Brown at the fight desk.
Well, thanks, Maura. We are back at it again tonight, and we've got a new face that's joining Josh Thompson and I at the fight desk here. Of course, Bellator's first ever two-division champ and the current heavyweight champ, Ryan Bader. Welcome to the other side.
I know. I'm liking it.
Well, I don't think Josh is going to tell you this is much better than getting punched in the face, right?
Absolutely.
Well, Ryan gets to take a little break from fighting tonight, just for tonight. And it's well-deserved. He is fresh off the heels of a dominant decision win over Lyoto Machida. We talked about it. That was a rematch for you. How did it feel to get that one back?
Yeah, redemption felt good. It was 9 years in the making, and I got knocked out the first time. And so to come back and get a dominant win over a guy like Machida shows myself and the fans how far I've come in this sport. And I still got a ways to go, but I'm going to prove that in this light heavyweight tournament.
What was different from the first fight to this fight that you had prepared for throughout your career since then?
My reads. The first fight, I really couldn't read him. This fight, I went in knowing I'd have to, let that first round, kind of go while I read him. And at the end of that first round, I was reading him on that fence and seeing which way he was moving, where I could get the takedown and kind of exploit these positions. And that's what ended up happening in the second all the way through the fifth.
Did you feel like you were falling into the same trap in that first round? Because as you went back to your corner kept telling you, relax, calm down, Ryan. We've got this. You just got to slow it down a little bit.
Yeah, a few times in my mind, yes. But I was proud of myself that I did stick to the game plan because I did not the first fight. And I was getting, in my own head, I got to get this back. I got to get that kick back. No, you don't. You have 5 rounds to go out there, and show your game. And we're waiting, and finally got to be able to do that in the second round.
Well, it was a fantastic performance. I know you're waiting to see who your opponent is going to be, and we are going to have that answer tonight because that's right, our co-main event. It's the quarterfinal matchup of 2 Bellator newcomers. It's a 2-time international light heavyweight champ in Yagshimuradov. He is taking on Corey Anderson tonight. Now, I'm going to talk to you about this, Ryan, because I know that you have spent some time with Corey Anderson. You have trained with him. He's come in, been in your camp for 2 fights. What makes him so dangerous?
His mindset and his cardio. They call him overtime for a reason. When we trained together, after we were done training, he was on the treadmill. He went for a run. He has that mindset to go out there and get the job done. He brings volume, whether that's striking or his takedowns, and it gets to the point when it's the 3rd, 4th, 5th round, it's overwhelming. So that's what he brings to this fight.
For bigger guys, it really comes down to conditioning. I feel like if you have the wrestling for the bigger guys, the 205 and the heavyweight division, the wrestling is key, but also to go along with the wrestling is the conditioning. And you have great conditioning as well. Corey Anderson has great conditioning. That's what makes you guys so dangerous. All right, but first, before we move on, I just got to ask one question. How'd the training go?
I don't kiss and tell, Josh.
I love it. I love it. Well, Corey Anderson has a tough test tonight when he takes on Yagshimuradov. We've been practicing that name, Yagshimuradov. And it's going to be a fantastic one. But first, 2 tough, gritty brawlers in Ortega and Desiree Yanez. They can't wait to get in the cage and throw down Dirty Des, looking to make a big statement in her Bellator debut tonight. And now, 2 fighters that have waited a very long time to stand across from one another inside the Bellator cage. And finally, that time has come. Mauro?
Yes, Jen, 3rd time is going to be the harm. The 62nd professional bout for Paul Daley, and Sabah Homasi's won 4 straight. Get ready for fistic fireworks in this combustible confrontation.
Now welcome to the first fighter, Sabah, the Slick Sheik Homasi.
The Sleek Sheik with 4 consecutive wins. He has 6 victories via first-round knockout. And when this fight was first supposed to take place, he respected Paul Daley. He looked up to Paul Daley. Not anymore. Bad blood.
Yeah, there is a lot of blood, but man, we're talking about a guy here that has dynamite in his hands. Look at that power. That was against Micah Terrell. That is a huge shot in the very first part of the first round. That's the type of power that Homasi has, and he has that explosive knee. He is very similar to Daley in the way that he can end a fight just at any moment. He is a guy, when you're looking at a fighter, you're looking at a guy that is just deadly when the fight starts.
And now, his opponent, Paul Semtex Daley.
Paul Daley has had issues making weight. This fight at a contract weight of 175 pounds. Daley has 42 career victories, 33 via form of knockout.
Paul Daley's explosive everywhere. Look at that flying knee right there against Brendan Ward. He can end a fight at any moment when it comes to the striking range. He has got the very best left hook in MMA. Watch here, misses, spinning back fist, there's the left hook. Lorenz Larkin is basically out on his feet. That is the power that Paul Daley has always brought. Boom, left hook. Fighter goes down. That is a normal ending. 31 times for Paul Daley.
Let's go to the tail of the tape for our opening encounter here at Bellator 257.
Our tail of the tape here is very simple. 76-inch reach for Paul Daley. Homasi has that shorter reach. Both guys, Semtex and Dynamite. Which one's going to be the explosive that wins tonight?
You do not want to blink as we go to the voice of Bellator MMA, Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Mohegan Sun Arena tonight, live on Showtime. Bellator MMA starts now with 3 5-minute rounds at a contract weight of 175 pounds. And now, first introducing the blue corner. At 6 foot, weighing in 175 pounds even. As a professional, 15 wins, 8 losses. He fights out of Delray Beach, Florida. Sabah, the Sleek Sheik Homasi. And across the cage, his adversary, fighting out of the red corner at 5'9", weighing in 174 3/4 pounds. The veteran brings an impressive professional record with 42 victories, 33 by way of knockout against 17 defeats and 2 draws. Hailing from Nottingham, England, introducing Paul Semtex Daley. And when the bell rings, the referee in charge, Kevin McDonald.
And Kevin McDonald will be responsible for lighting the fuse when he calls for the bell for round number 1 here in the Bellator MMA welterweight division.
Ready to fight? Ready to fight? Let's go.
Daley in the red gloves. Homasi in the blue gloves, and now that Daley has his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, I almost expected him to try a flying armbar a la Rumana Sato. I guess not, John.
Maybe not. Get the distance with it.
You know, Daley was involved in the greatest opening round in MMA history against Nick Diaz. Yesterday marked the 36th anniversary of the war between Marvin Hagler and Thomas Hearns, which of course featured the greatest opening round in boxing history.
On the feet. Beautiful.
That was a very nice high kick by Homasi. You saw that Daley blocked it, but he felt it too.
Oh, and Homasi tags Daley with the right hand, and Homasi all over Semtex Daley. Homasi detonating these bombs on Daley. Homasi looking for his 7th first-round knockout, and it was Daley weathering the storm for now, but not for long.
Big shot by Homasi. We have seen Daley do this to his opponents, but not many can do it to him. Homasi is landing big shots. That left hand just needs to be a jackhammer right now. Paul doesn't have the sense right now to block many shots. He's trying to hold on, trying to use that jiu-jitsu that he has gotten good at. He needs to slow the progression of Homasi down.
Well, it was Sabah Homasi who landed the first big bombs of this fight. And give credit to the 38-year-old Paul Daley. Again, 62nd professional fight. A lot of miles on the odometer, and he weathered the initial storm.
Well, he's weathering the storm, but he's wearing that. Those shots are going to add up. You got to give it to referee Kevin McDonald. Did a nice job of seeing that, you know what, Paul could continue in that fight. Let him go.
Control the posture. That's it. Lock those hands. Control them. All right, Sabah. Get your bearings back. Control his posture. Control it. Not on your worst day. Put his head on the cage. Put his head on the cage. Put his head on the cage.
Homasi put a lot of energy out in trying to get rid of Daley. That's why you see him just settling down here. That's a big, heavy elbow strike.
Control it. Hey, the wrist, remember the wrist. Let him take that wrist.
Homasi has been training an American top team since 2008.
Stay heavy here. Stay heavy here, Sabah. Let's pass. Stay heavy here. Go to the back. That's it. That's it. I need you heavy here. That's it. Flatten him out. That's it.
That's a very good technique. You see Paul holding that wrist because now Homasi can't reach out and take away that posting right arm that he had. That'll help Paul get back to his feet.
2 minutes.
Daley brought in a new striking coach, Charlie O'Neill, and he didn't get the best of the initial striking exchanges in this fight, but now on the exit, the elbow by Daley, and then the high kick blocked by Homasi, who comes forward, stumbles and falls. Less than 2 minutes left in this first round.
Keep on the jab. Keep on your jab, center.
Homasi from the southpaw now to orthodox.
Patience is what got us here.
Hands high.
I really thought Homasi was doing well in the southpaw. I'd almost like to see him almost stay with that southpaw because he was landing the high kick. It was giving Daley just a little bit of confusion. So after an initial explosion, things settling down here in the final 90 seconds of the first round, but this being MMA, that can change in an instant. Paul just touching, but not getting a clean shot right there. Homasi really, you can take a look, he spent himself a lot trying to get rid of Paul. He's got to just collect himself, get those breaths of air, take his time.
Patience.
Don't lunge on it.
1 minute.
Final 60 seconds here in the first round. Daley seeking his 20th first round knockout.
Don't dip when he's bouncing. He wants to hit.
There's a good left hook that lands for Homasi. 45 seconds left, and Daley now closing the distance against Homasi.
Daley in a position right now, having him up against the cage. Look for knees. He likes to exit with an elbow strike also. He may not try for the takedown. Nice job by Daley pulling him off balance. There's that knee I was talking about. That hurt him.
3 knees, it did hurt Homasi. And now Daley with a left hook to the body, left hook upstairs. And Daley looking to steal the round, impossible here in the final seconds of the first. What a fight as advertised. A barn burner to begin the proceedings at Bellator 257.
Beautiful, Sabah.
Stop. Clean break, guys.
Wow, what a round. You brought up the Paul Daley, Nick Diaz. Well, that was very similar because this thing started off with fireworks. Look at this hand. It hits Daley right on the ear, causes Daley some problem, and it's this pressure. Look at the shots that Homasi is landing. Goes down to his knees, comes back. He is just jackhammering that left hand, comes up with a kick, falls down the knee, and then he knocks Daley to the ground with that shot, and then Daley comes back. Look at that knee strike. I knew he was going to bring a knee because he does it all the time in those clinch situations. Homasi eats a couple of knees, gets himself back where he gets that arm up. What a round.
You're in.
A Dickensian round. It was the best of times and worst of times for both Paul Daley and Sabah Homasi. Ain't no mercy in the Bellator MMA cage as we get set for the second round. Daley takes the center of the cage. Homasi moving laterally.
Scorecard right now, as far as this round, you got to go with all that damage that Homasi did. Paul kind of brought it back, but not enough to take the round 10-9 Homasi.
Homasi played football, primarily defensive end, from when he was 4 through the senior year of high school. Daley has been, well, involved in mixed martial arts for many, many years, involved in so many memorable battles. Nice lead, right uppercut.
Oh, the big right hand.
By Daley, the hammer fist. Ground and pound from Semtex Daley, who just detonated on Homasi.
Hands high. Hands high.
Big shot by Paul Daley, Homasi, coming back. Neither guy wants to give an inch in this fight.
Lead right hand by Daley. Jab to the midsection by Semtex.
The elbow's there when you show him that.
The sleek chic. Sabah Homasi. And this is 24th fight. So the experience, huge edge for Daley. Power, they both tasted each other's striking ability.
They have both hurt each other.
And total strikes landed, John.
And take a look at that, 2017.
Oh, and
Homasi's in trouble.
Daley dropping the lefts, and Paul Daley defeats Sabah Homasi here in round number 2.
What a comeback for Paul Daley.
Don't call it a comeback. Mama said, knock you out. And great to see them squash their beef. As we mentioned, Homasi, when this fight was first announced, was so excited to face a guy like Paul Daley, someone he revered, someone he looked up to.
Yeah, he loved the style of Paul Daley. He loved that he tried to finish fights. Watch the shots here. That right hand hits flush. Homasi was coming up off of the ground anyway, so that's why he goes to the ground with it. Kick here, watch the return. Paul takes, holding that leg with the left hand, and then hits that left hook that I talk about so much. He throws a left hook better than anybody in MMA still to this day. He is just powerful with that hand.
A Daley show that would make the hilarious Trevor Noah proud, as Paul Daley in his 62nd professional mixed martial arts battle records knockout number 34.
I didn't respect your fight. Someone's gonna win, someone's gonna lose. 100%. No one drops me. Look at my fights. Only you and Nemo are the guys who drop me. You can bang. Only 2 guys who drop me, brother.
You're the man, brother.
You can bang. You got power.
I got mad respect for you.
You got power, brother. Seriously.
Wow, that is so cool to hear that, as Diaz just went up to Homasi. We talked about the fight with Diaz. He just said, you and Diaz, the only guys to drop me like that. And I mean, that fight with Nick Diaz was one for the ages. But here tonight, Paul Daley kicks off Bellator 257 with a scintillating second round stoppage win. Let's make it official with Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, inside the Bellator cage, it comes to an end officially. 1 minute, 44 seconds into round number 2. The winner by TKO, Paul Semtex Daley.
Yep.
Let's go to Big John McCarthy.
Oh my Lord, Paul Daley, are you trying to give your cornermen and us heart attacks?
I know. I made, sorry. I made hard work of it, but I didn't give him the respect he deserves. You know, I've been in there with big punchers. I think Douglas Lima's here somewhere, or watching from a hotel room. And that kid can bang just as hard as Doug. Look back at all my fights, I don't get dropped. I'm never really in trouble, and I've been in there with the best of the strikers. So much respect to Homasi, you know. He's a bit younger than me, so I'm sure he's still got plenty of big opportunities in his future. So I just want to say a lot of respect to him, because in the lead up to the fight, I'm not a nice guy. Like, if I'm fighting you, I'm fighting you. I don't fucking respect you till after the fight. So much respect to Homasi. He's a real contender.
Well, after that incredible first round, when you went back to the stool and getting up off of it, coming into the second, what was in your mind?
You know, my corner man, new to the team, but been a sparring partner of mine, Charlie O'Neill. He said to me, you didn't respect him, you know. You didn't respect his power. You got to respect his power. And I think that's what it was. You know, I watched the footage of him. He looked like he can bang, but you can never really tell. When you see a guy like Douglas Lima in there, the fucking monster, sorry, again, the monster, you know he can bang. He's a monster. But, you know, Homasi didn't look like a monster, but he's got lead in his hand. So I just need to respect it, get in, and just get the job done.
Well, 10 years ago, you were part of the best round I ever saw in MMA, and that, again, was one of the best fights I've ever seen.
One.
Congratulations on a big win. I know you look great at 175. You need to stay there.
I hope so.
Beautiful contracted weight for you.
Thank you
Who
very
would
much.
you like to fight next if possible?
Whoever fancies, whoever struggles to get down to 170 and feels like 175 is a good division for them, I'll fight them. You know, I've been in with the best at 170, and now I'm saying here, you know, on Showtime and around the world, that the 175-pound division is my division. If you want the belt, fucking come and get it.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Semtex Daley.
Mamma mia, what a way to kick off Bellator 257. Daley used to dropping bombs, even if sometimes they are of the F variety. What a fight. What a way to kick off tonight. And with more, let's go to Jen Brown.
Well, you said it, Maura. That is the way you start the evening here on Showtime. Man, we said it was going to be a barn burner, and it did not disappoint. Paul Daley, of course, picking up that big win there. His 34th knockout inside the cage. What a performance tonight. Super impressive, and, you know, it's just going to keep getting better. All right, well, Bellator showered us with stat cards in April, and that only means more flourishing fights in May. Now, Friday, May 7th, the bantamweight gold is on the line. Champion Juan Archuleta defends his belt for the first time against the phenom Sergio Pettis. Plus, we close out the quarterfinals of our 205 World Grand Prix with the highly anticipated debuts of Anthony Rumble Johnson and Yoel Romero. Then, Friday, May 21st, the featherweight phenom and pound-for-pound best female in Bellator, Chris Cyborg, returns to defend a win against Leslie the Peacemaker Smith. Now, can Leslie overthrow the gold? We're going to find out on May 21st. And the hits just keep on coming. Now, we are happy to confirm that Friday, June 11th, a massive test for the welterweight world champion, Douglas Lima. Now, he will meet the #1 contender, the undefeated Ukraine sensation, Yaroslav Amosov, Friday, June 11th, only on Showtime. And joining us now, it's the Phenom himself, just 2 months out for this huge title defense. Now, Douglas, thanks for joining us and being up here at the desk.
No problem.
All right, well, let's talk about your opponent, Amosov. He is 25-0. We have seen him out-wrestle Division II All-Americans, and we've seen him outstrike some world-class kickboxers. What concerns you about him?
Not really concerned, but, you know, he's a gamer. You know, he's good everywhere. He's a great wrestler. He's a great striker. And, you know, I have 40 fights under my record, and I fought all type of guys, and, you know, this is just gonna be another tough one.
You fought all types of guys, but the ones that give you the most fits are the wrestling guys. And he didn't start wrestling until he got into MMA. But he's also showed that he can out-wrestle guys like Logan Storley in certain scrambles and situations. 3-time national champion Ed Ruth, he out-wrestled him as well in different situations as well, in scrambling situations. Tell me, have you thought and considered what his game plan might be seeing your past fights?
Yeah, of course. I think it's going to wrestle a lot more than striking. Like I said, we just got to give respect. You know, the guy's been there with great fighters. You know, he's 25-0. You know, I don't care who you fight. If you're 25-0 in the sport, that means you're doing something right. Of course, I respect his skills. You know, I know his game, especially on the wrestling. But I'll be ready for him. You know, nothing really that stands out. You know, he's just a complete good fighter, and I can't wait to go against him.
Well, a lot of fighters, they talk about their legacy, right? And you here in Bellator, you've won 3 tournaments. You're a 3-time world champ. What does a fight and a win over a guy like Amosov mean for your legacy?
Just keeps on getting better. You know, he's undefeated, like we said. You know, taking another undefeated younger guy, and he just keeps growing. You know, in the legacy.
Well, so he's undefeated, like she said, 25-0. He has the best record in all of MMA. Now that could be an argument off his retired. He is the best fighter right now in the world, considering his 25-0 undefeated record. You, though, have been the champion for a long time. Does that put any more pressure on you to give him that one loss?
No, I think the pressure's all on him. You know, he's 25-0. He's got 25 solid wins, but he never fought me. He never fought a guy like me that can put him out in any second. You know, there's no pressure. I'm just there doing my job. You know, I fought, you know, bigger, stronger guys before. You know what I mean? Homasi, you know, he's a much heavier guy and heavy on the wrestling too, and I fought him. You know, so I've been there with the best in the world, so I know what to expect.
You brought up Gegard Mousasi in that fight with him as well. You went up in weight. You carried that weight very well. Is there a lot of concern about getting your weight back down now that you've had that?
No, I'm, you know, under 200 pounds right now, and I'm trying to keep it light.
That's a first.
That's right. That's right. You know, it's 25 minutes. It's a long fight, so I got to make sure the weight's ready. I'm, you know, probably, you know, 25 pounds, and here 2 months out, so the weight's not going to be a problem.
You got 2 months. Yeah.
You've seen, the one last question I want to ask you real quick is that you've seen him get tired in 3-round fights. Is that something you feel like you can exploit against him?
For sure. If he's getting tired in 3 rounds, you know, I can't imagine 5 rounds, because that's a huge difference. Those extra 2 rounds make a big difference, and I'm used to it. You know, I fought, man, my best 10 fights is all 5-rounders, so, you know, we'll be sure to exploit that for sure.
We're looking forward to seeing you in the cage. All right, June 11th, that's right. Douglas Lima will defend his belt against Yaroslav Amosov only on Showtime. And tonight, though, another belt is on the line. Now, since his split decision win over Phil Davis back in 2018, Vadim Nemkov said he's become more confident. Now, tonight, he wants to leave no question in anyone's mind that he is the best. He has the title, he has the belt, and he has his eyes on $1 million. But of course, I don't know, there's a guy standing in his way. That's right, Phil Davis, he told us this week that he knows that Nemkov wants to come out and make a statement saying he's the rightful champion, but he says that he is here to say, no, you are not. He wants his belt back, and he plans to get it tonight. Well, that is our main event coming up later on tonight. But first, 2 female flyweights that were supposed to fight back in October. They will finally make their walk to the cage. Now, Vida Ortega ended up testing positive for COVID the day before she was to face Desiree Yanez. Now, the two have had 2 camps to prepare for one another. And when you look at both of these women's styles, Josh, I mean, it's hard not to expect this is going to be a good fight.
Yeah, this should be fireworks, but Dirty Des, Yanez, she's going to be coming up in weight from 115 to 125. And Vida Ortega has also had a hard time making the weight sometimes. So she should be able to impose her will against Yanez. If she can press Yanez to the fence, hang on her, make her carry the weight, potentially get takedowns, threaten the submissions, I think Yanez is going to have a hard time dealing with that. But if Yanez can stick and move, keep the distance, make her come in and overcommit, then I think she's going to have a good opportunity to land a nice clean shot, maybe even drop her and get her out of there.
Well, Yanez told us, she said, look, getting that fight canceled was actually a blessing in disguise. It gave her some extra time, those 2, you know, like 2 full camps to really pick apart Vida Ortega, really analyze what she can do inside the cage. It'll be interesting, though, to see if that size will be a factor tonight. What's the key for her inside? What's the one thing she needs to focus on?
Well, she needs to focus on creating angles, because Vida likes to walk forward and throw punches in bunches. So she actually talked about that. Yanez said, I need to create angles, take angles, and throw off those angles. If she does that, she'll have some success. Vida, though, what she's got to do is she's got to press Yanez to the fence, make her carry the weight. Like I said, if she can get on top of her and make her carry all that weight that she's able to carry, then she can land some nasty ground and pound and do some work.
Yeah, well, Vida is coming off of 2 losses, but they're not bad. I mean, look, it was a title shot against Lima McFarland, Alejandra Lara. Really, you know, 2 tough fights for her, but she says she's made some adjustments in her stand-up game. What can we expect to see from her tonight?
Well, there's a lot of adjustments she had to make after the Alejandra Lara fight. There's a confidence, though, too, that she was lacking in that fight. I think she's gotten that back. Now the time away, it's because of COVID and because of the COVID situation. She's had more time to really focus on her mental.
All right, well, we look forward to seeing it. Both women, of course, are pressure fighters, and neither likes to take a step back. And with that kind of combination, Mauro, I think we're in for one heck of a fight tonight.
Well, let's hope it's as entertaining as our opener, as the former Bellator flyweight title challenger, Vida Ortega, ranked number 7, welcomes Desiree Dirty Des Yanez to Bellator MMA.
Now ready to make her way to the cage, Desiree Dirty Des Yanez.
31-year-old Yanez has won 4 of her last 5 fights. Had to overcome the loss of both of her parents just months apart when she was 21, and she channeled that grief, that sense of loss, and focused on the combat sports, the martial arts journey. And John, it has helped so many people, but tonight she's facing the biggest fight of her life.
This is a big fight for her. She's a gamer. She's going to need all of that to get past Vida Ortega.
And now making her way to the cage, Vida Ortega.
When I spit it, it's crazy. Got semi-autos and who's gonna play me? One shot is not enough. So who's see the movie? After 4 bottles
at Bellator 220 in April of 2019, Ortega challenged then flyweight champion Alimale McFarland, getting stopped in the 3rd round. She ended up losing a unanimous decision to Alejandra Lara in her last outing at Bellator 235 in December of 2019. She says no excuses. She had to deal with some outside distractions, but her focus now is completely on Desiree Yanez, and Ortega wants to prove that she belongs in the top 10 and wants to move one step closer to potentially another opportunity to become flyweight champion. All right, John, let's take a look at the numbers for this, the second bout of the night at Bellator 257.
You'll notice you don't see anything, Mark, because they are so similar in every area. This is going to be which fighter can force the other one back on their back foot.
Here's Michael C. Williams.
Live on Showtime, Bellator MMA now features 3 5-minute rounds in the flyweight division. Introducing first, the blue corner. At 5'4", weighing in 125 3/4 pounds, making her Bellator debut, she enters with 5 professional victories, 2 losses, fighting out of Waco, Texas, Desiree "Dirty Des" Yanez. And across the cage, her adversary, fighting out of the red corner, at 5'4", weighing in 124 1/2 pounds. The former title challenger brings 5 professional victories, 4 defeats. She fights out of Boise, Idaho, Vita Ortega. In charge, your referee, Todd Anderson.
Todd Anderson assigned this 125-pound matchup. Vita Ortega.
Ready?
And Desiree Yanez. The bell, round 1, Ortega in the red gloves, Yanez in the blue gloves. No feeling out process as they exchange from the jump. And Yanez, high-level softball player growing up, definitely not getting a soft touch in her first fight in Bellator.
No, Ortega landed a clean shot in that exchange. And this is what Desiree Yanez has got to figure out. How am I going to out-grit the gritty fighter?
Knee up the middle by Ortega as they separate. And Ortega tags Yanez with that left hook, and Yanez took it well. Again, Yanez moving up here to 125 pounds. Both, again, looking to get back on the winning track. Such an important fight in their respective careers here under the bright lights of Bellator MMA. Half kick by Ortega, then goes upstairs with a combo.
Yanez is making a basic mistake of when you're seeing them come into contact and she's starting to back out, her chin is raising up more.
Ortega was stopped by strikes against the former champion McFarlane. Yanez, she has never been knocked out. 90 seconds have elapsed here in the opening round, and Ortega finding the mark upstairs.
There you go, yep. Feints. Get her on the reset. Nothing.
And Yanez told us that, well, she was going to be using angles. She said she worked on more angles than geometry class. Not seeing it thus far, John.
No, you're absolutely right. And what you're seeing is on the exit, she's going straight back. If you're going to exit out, I want you to exit out. You can take one step back, but then we're either going laterally to our right or laterally to our left.
And, of course, Ortega wants Yanez to react the way she wants her to. Always plans on being one step ahead. Ortega, after this fight, going to be prepping for her state and national real estate exam, and of course would love to control the real estate in the cage. And right now they're not giving up much real estate. They're standing toe-to-toe.
No, you see basic movements, but no one's really being able to pressure the other fighter back. And then right there you're seeing Vita Ortega actually trying to utilize angles and not be that linear fighter that she's been known to be in the past.
Her last loss against Alejandro Lara, she dropped a fight last week against Kana Watanabe. So lots going on in the 125-pound weight class. Of course, the champion, Juliana Velasquez. We had Liz Carmouche record a victory last week. Yanez with a strike to the body.
Yeah, if you're basically looking at the flyweight division for the women in Bellator, it's an open book right now as far as, yeah, Juliana Velasquez at the top, and then you've got, like, the ex-champion, Lena McFarland. Nice shot.
Man, and Yanez feeding Ortega with a couple of shots.
But what President Scott Coker is looking for, he's looking for that impressive performance. And that's what both of these ladies are trying to show him tonight.
And they're not holding back here in the first 5 minutes.
Nice tap. That hurt her. That hurt her leg. Get up. Good. That hurt her. There you go. You're all right. Nothing.
Ortega checking that kick. Final 60 seconds. Ortega working to befuddle Yanez, disrupt her timing, disrupt her attack, trying to use the jab to get in close to land some of those haymakers.
And that chin is getting up a little high. Des needs to take and staple that thing down to her chest.
There you go.
Nice shot to the body by Vita.
Come over. Hey, good. Head off the center line. Give it to her. Nice. Good. Now stay on her. You gotta get in her face. You got 15 seconds.
And Yanez looking for the takedown, gets Ortega's back momentarily, but Ortega fighting underneath now as Yanez look for the takedown. Ortega in the clutches of Yanez. Yanez has Ortega's back, but time runs out.
Hey, we're having fun? Welcome back. Good, let's take some, okay? Just a little, breathe, I'll give you another stick before we go. Hey, good job. You just have to stay in motion, keep your hands hot, okay? That's it. Beat her with speed. She keeps stepping in, hit her on her reset with your jab, okay? And look at that takedown, okay? We got it at the end, it's great, okay? It's a good round, it's a close round. We probably got the nod right there at the end. Let's think about it a little bit earlier, okay? A little bit earlier. Don't force it, but a little earlier, and let's take it down, okay?
Well, we saw a lot of boxing in that opening round, and Saturday, May 15th at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, Showtime Championship Boxing returns with a triple header presented by Premier Boxing Champions. Undefeated super bantamweights go toe-to-toe for gold. The 31-0 Luis Neri puts his title on the line and attempts to add 21-0 Brandon Figueroa's secondary belt to his collection. A battle of unbeatens headlines Showtime Championship Boxing Saturday, May 15th.
Ready, fight!
Bell, round number 2. Former title challenger Ortega, the red gloves. Bellator MMA debutante Yanez in the blue gloves, and Ortega pressing the attack.
That first round was a really close round, and it was close as far as the action from both ladies, but I think
Ortega just dropped Yanez and follows up with a right hand.
Hey, let us down. Good. She don't know you. You're all right. You're all right. Hey, I need hips heavy. I need hips heavy.
Yanez was tagged, now on her back with Ortega in dominant position.
Ortega is in the half guard. Yanez just needs to compose herself, hold on to her right now, get your wits back about you. You can see she's doing that. It's just
nice scramble, and Yanez gets to her feet, but then gets stapled by Ortega with strikes before being stapled to the fence.
Let's go. Hey, walk your feet now. Walk your feet. Drop the steps. Get off that cage. Cross face.
Takedown secured by Ortega.
And right to mount. Not a smart move by Yanez. Made a mistake in letting that reset. Going for the choke.
Ortega's going for the rear naked choke. She has a guillotine choke victory, her lone submission win. We talked about Yanez never being knocked out. She has lost via armbar.
Hey, I need hip pressure, Vita.
Hey, you're going to get pressure. Go.
Hip pressure.
Find that ear.
Blood on the face of Vita Ortega.
Right. Hey, let's get
wrestle.
Let's wrestle. Sink back. Good. Stretch her out. Stretch her out. Stretch her out. Hey, let's get that second hook in.
Hey, we're going to get
that second hook in.
Vita's sitting just with one hook right now. She's got that right hook. She needs to get that left hook in.
Ortega, BJJ brown belt.
You're breaking her. You're heavy there. Nice.
3 minutes left in the second. And again, Ortega going for that choke.
Now it's getting closer.
Ortega looking to secure the rear naked choke, continues to tenderize Yanez, softening up with strikes, putting the squeeze.
Nice and slow. It's in.
It's on the jawline. Now it just went under the neck. She just turned to protect herself. Nice job by Yanez.
Knee slice. Elbow, get up. Stay on top.
Yanez escaping momentarily, but now north-south. Getting back to her feet, knee from, and those knees with the hand down.
She couldn't see that the hand was down. The hand was placed down when she brought her up. You saw Des have the hand down. That was an illegal strike, but it wasn't intentional.
How you feel? Yeah? Mm-hmm. Where's Mike? Knee to the head, Mike. How are you feeling right now?
Good.
Okay. Let me give you a second. I'm going to speak to her, then I'll come back. You let me know how you're feeling.
Yeah.
You know? Her hand was down on the ground. Left her with 2 knees.
Okay.
All right? I'm going to go and talk to her. See where we go. Let me take a look at your face right here.
Yes.
Don't move. Stay put. How you feeling? Yeah? You sure? Are you ready to go?
Yeah.
All right. Stay put. That was 2 knees right to the head.
Okay.
You impacted the fight.
Okay.
I'm going to be taking 1 point. You understand?
Yes.
Okay, come with me. 2 knees to the head, 1 point. Knee to the head, 1 point. 1 point, knee to the head.
Yes.
You ready to go?
Referee Anderson deducting a
Feel ready
point
to go?
for the illegal knees
Timer.
to the head.
Fighters. Hey.
And so Ortega now has to increase her offensive output even more, John.
Well, she's had enough offensive output. It's going to be on Yanez to try to bring us so she can get a win in this round with 2 points. Because right now, Vita is way up.
And yet has to be careful as Yanez closing the distance, but good takedown defense exhibited by Ortega, still throwing knees as she backs up.
She's gonna wrap. She's gonna try to wrap with your legs. Be careful.
Extend the left arm and turn.
Point the left arm to the sky.
Need a level change and extend that left arm.
Nice.
Now move. Move speed right now.
Good.
Still to come, quarterfinal action in the Bellator MMA light heavyweight World Grand Prix, including in the main event, Vadim Nemkov defending the title for the first time in a rematch with Phil Davis. 90 seconds left here in the second.
Low, low, too. Low there. Low. There you go. Good. Clinching. A lot of feints. A lot of feints. There you go. Hey. There you go.
Right hand lands for Ortega. Jab from Yanez. A lot of single shots, a lot of feinting, a lot of movement.
There we go. Beautiful.
Gotta figure there's been some damage done to Yanez, so she's a little bit wary.
That right cross landed for Ortega flush.
You're seeing a complete difference in this round as far as just take a look at the forward movement now of Ortega. Yanez going backwards. She keeps raising that chin.
Yanez turning the tables, has Ortega up along the fence here with 30 seconds left in the middle frame. Delivers a knee countered by Ortega.
Good job. Double unders. 30 seconds. Double unders. Let's go. Let's go. Let them knees go.
So Vita Ortega at a point taken away here in round 2, but is taking the fight to Desiree Yanez.
Nice. Nothing. Good. Yep.
Nice job.
Beautiful. There we go. We need this one. So we just because that point. You got to be aware. That's perfect. You did everything right. Okay. Right?
Yes.
Just got to put her on the cage, right? We'll just keep going forward. Okay. She's gonna try a desperate shot. We can jump on her neck. We can do whatever. Yep, she is. Right.
Come out desperate.
Just keep that intensity up.
Okay.
This was a big right hand. Landed on Yanez, puts her down.
Breathe. Belly breathe.
And then this nice little shot right there, this is the one right there, just that little slicing thing. That's what cut Vita on the opposite side of her face. It was a left hand, but it cut her on the left side of her face, up near her eye. Sometimes just stretching that skin, that's what happens.
And again, the day after the 36th anniversary of one of the greatest fights in boxing, we talked about what Daley and Homasi did, and here in Ortega, a little bit of Hagler being bloodied and on the attack, my man, as we begin the action here in round number 3, and immediately Ortega coming forward, throwing punches, changing levels as Yanez, and she gets the takedown.
That was a nice move by Yanez. She used that forward pressure by Ortega to be able to change that levels. Right now on the scorecard, I have Ortega up. I thought that she had the better power in the first round, even though it was a very close round, so it could go either way. She definitely won the second round, but the point deduction by the referee makes it a 9-9 round.
Hey, wrist control. Come up. Wrist control. Hands on the ground.
You see this.
Find that ear. Careful back.
She's trying to stall. She's tired. She's trying to stall here. Wrist control. Feet on the hip. Know where you're at.
Over. Roll it. Not doing nothing.
There you go.
Foot on the hip by Ortega. That smart goes to the plata. Again, changing that angle creates such problems.
A minute gone here in the round, and Ortega able to push Yanez off of her back to the feet, and Yanez getting lit up by Vita Ortega in the stand-up department, but
Get inside.
she's taking shots, but
she hasn't gone down
hanging
yet.
tough. Well, she did go down.
Not down and out. She went down, but she's not down and out. Yet to be stopped due to strikes in her career. This her 8th professional fight, but by far the biggest test of her burgeoning MMA career here in her Bellator debut. And yeah, giving it to Ortega now, turning the tables, but has to take advantage, has to try to impose not just her will, but some skill here with 3:15 left in the fight.
Yeah, Vita trying to dig that underhook, then decides I'll just go for the wrist. She's got that overhook. It's time to dig an underhook on that side or get the underhook back with the right arm and bring it up high so she can turn the position.
Use your legs. Hey, we gotta get shoulder position and move. Right now.
Nice knee by Yanez.
There you go. She's tired. Stay there.
And Yanez with a right hand, they separate. Jab by Ortega.
Bring your feet.
There you go.
And yeah, Ortega coming forward. Yanez, that chin is a little high, John, as you've been alluding to throughout the fight. Midway point of the final round.
Keep it going.
She's a gamer, though, man. She's hanging tough. She's giving it everything she has. I like the fact she went for that takedown, try to change the complexion of the fight.
Let's go, B. Let's go. Push.
Let's go, Vita. You got 2 minutes.
Yanez knew she was an underdog coming into this fight, but she told us she's always a live dog, and she might have to make this dog fight here in the final 2 minutes to try to steal the victory away from Vita Ortega, because it's been the ex-flyweight title challenger who's been doing the damage for the most part with these strikes.
That was a good right hand by Vita.
Let's go. Put her over here.
Right now, the big difference is both of these ladies are come-forward fighters, and when you're seeing that Yanez is stepping back, being on her back foot, that's telling you she's having problems in the stand-up against Ortega.
Look at the top of the division. Juliana Velasquez, the champion, as Ortega lands the 1-2. Yanez trying to fight back, clipping Ortega with the right now, has Ortega up along the fence, but she needs to create separation and unload some bombs if she can.
Either that or take her to the ground. Let's go for that submission. She needs to do something to show that she's trying to finish this fight.
There we go. Attack the block. Attack the block.
There are levels to mixed martial arts. And Desiree, Dirty Des Yanez, getting a education here tonight, a fight that can only help her moving forward. And again, gutsy performance, less than a minute remaining. Now Ortega has Yanez along the fence.
Get over there. There we go. Stay on. She's tired. Get up. You got 50 seconds. There we go. Good. Let's go. Nothing. She's tired. Get up. Let's go.
Ortega's corner yelling that Yanez is tired.
I think she has some fatigue. I think they're right.
30 seconds, Vito. Let's go.
There's a jab to the midsection, calf kick by Ortega, but Yanez unable to counter effectively.
Yanez is getting a little bit square in the stand-up, which is allowing Vida to land her shots, and it's taking some of the power off of Yanez's shots.
Ortega looking to move past the 500 mark here in Bellator. Yanez looking for victory in her Bellator MMA debut. It's going to be up to the judges to determine who walks out of the Mohegan Sun Arena victorious. I have a sneaking suspicion I know who you think won the fight, Big John.
You may.
Would that happen to be the former title challenger, Vida Ortega?
Yeah, I have Vida winning the fight. She's the one that brought the fight. She had the bigger shots. She did more actual damage in the fight. This is that takedown. I thought it was a really smart move by Dez, getting her to the ground. She used that pressure forward to get inside, but it was the punching of Vida overall, but both landing here. Watch the right hand here by Vida. Lands just to the outside, but overall, it was the striking of Vida Ortega that ended up just being a little bit better throughout this fight. She had the big knockdown in the second round.
All right, Bellator MMA proud to share the screen with Showtime's critically acclaimed premium entertainment. Let's see what's coming up on Showtime.
The whole of Charlestown is dancing in the streets. Jimmy Ryan is dead.
I'm guessing the finger on that trigger was yours. Give me one reason not to send you to prison.
Bless me, Father, for I have sinned.
God already knows what you've done, Mr. Rohr.
Well, I'm starting to think that it's not what you do, but who you do it to.
I know how this ends. You don't get the last laugh.
City on a Hill, new time, Sunday at 9.
Look at us, the Three Musketeers, back together again.
This will probably be the hardest decision you'll ever make.
You ain't gotta be stoned all the time, bro.
Yeah, we do.
There's a war going on outside. The police department is on one side and the black community is on the other. It is time to do something differently.
What's on the schedule today?
I heard the barge is trying to cross over to more white folks by changing their name to the barge.
This is true.
Yeah, Price on me in a tablet. Hits like malice.
Now, let's talk foreskin restoration surgery.
Wait, what? I'm sorry.
Way too much talent.
Wait, you work here now?
You take the question mark off that sentence.
It's time to make some changes. Oh! What would you say? Okay.
All right, fight stats. Very close in terms of strikes landed. And Yanez with the edge in takedowns. Well, that's what the fight stats tell us, but what do the judges tell us? Michael C. Williams has that answer.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the decision, we'll go to your judges' scorecards. Your first judge at cage-side, Eric Colon, sees the fight 28-28. He sees it even. That scorecard, however, overruled by judges Ron McCarthy and Dave Torelli, who both scored the same 29-27 for the winner by majority decision, Vida Ortega.
Vida Ortega shades Desiree Yanez via majority decision to improve to 5-4 in Bellator MMA. Yanez losing her Bellator MMA debut, but putting forth a valiant effort. Let's go to Big John McCarthy.
Vida Ortega, you are a gritty, nasty fighter. I love watching your fights. This was a very tough fight against someone that is very similar to you in style.
Right. I knew Desiree was going to be a tough opponent. I know she's scrappy, similar to my style. So I definitely had to pick my shots, be a little patient with her. Yeah, you know, I'm not overly excited about my performance. I felt like I could do a little bit better, but hey, I had to do what I had to do.
Well, let's talk about the second round. You knocked her down. You were doing great work.
Right.
She got to a point where she was able to get up, and we landed what was called 2 illegal knees to a grounded fighter, and they took a point. What was going through your head at that moment?
Unfortunately, you know, Todd did a good job refereeing. He had told me, you know, I'm going to take a point away. If you don't know, then don't throw it. And I guess when you're in the cage, you're not even really thinking about that. So my apologies to her on my intentions weren't bad, but I thought going into the third round, I'm like, damn it, I need to make sure I fight smart in this third round because now I'm down regardless because I have a point taken away. So definitely had to pick it up in the third round.
Well, pick it up you did. Congratulations on a beautiful victory. Ladies and gentlemen, Vida Ortega.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Vida Ortega came into this fight ranked at number 7. Former flyweight title challenger, current 125 champion is Juliana Velasquez. Let's go back to Jen Brown at the fight desk.
Well, Vida Ortega picking up her 6th win there, able to get back in the win column tonight. A great performance. I know she's going to be proud of that one. Looking forward to seeing more from her inside the Bellator cage. All right, fight fans, expect to be glued to the screen this May as Showtime Sports delivers 4 straight weeks of fight action. Now, May 7th, it's the battle of the bantamweights when champion Juan Archuleta defends his gold against the challenger Sergio Pettis. Plus, 2 of Bellator's recent signees make their first walk to the cage. Anthony Rumble Johnson taking on Yoel Romero. Saturday, May 15th, Showtime Championship Boxing returns with a triple header presented by Premier Boxing Champions. Undefeated super bantamweights go toe-to-toe for gold. 31-0 Luis Neri puts his title on the line and attempts to add 21-0 Brandon Figueroa's secondary belt to his collection. Now Friday, May 21st, Bellator MMA is back when one of the most legendary featherweights in the world, Prix Cyborg, defends her gold in a rematch against veteran Leslie Smith. Well, then we go from the cage back to the ring with Showtime Championship Boxing featuring 4-division champion and future Hall of Famer Nonita Donaire. Now he takes on undefeated WBC titleist Nordine Oubaali on Saturday, May 29th. That is all here, only on Showtime. Well, 8 of the best light heavyweights in the world lined up for a chance to win $1 million and be crowned Bellator's light heavyweight champ. Now, Ryan Bader was the first to advance, and tonight we'll find out who his opponent will be when Corey Anderson takes on Yagshimuradov. Now, they are calling this fight the dark horse matchup because both fighters are Bellator newcomers. They're looking to prove themselves tonight. Who will move on to face Ryan Bader? We will find out. Now, when we talked to Corey Anderson this week, the thing that impressed me the most was he seems like such a cerebral fighter. You know, he talked about how he's really spent this time analyzing his opponent tonight. You know, Ryan, I'm curious, you know Anderson, you know, you've spent some time with him. Where can he give Yagshimuradov the most difficulties tonight in this fight?
He needs to go in there and he needs to circle to the right, stay away from Yagshimuradov's fast right hand and his low kick. Put the jab on him, use his reach, ultimately get it down on the ground and do what he does best. You know, grind it out and you know, make it ugly if necessary.
I think what he needs to do is, I agree with Ryan, he needs to make it dirty, he needs to make it grimy, he needs to put that size on him, he needs to hang on Yagshimuradov. So Corey just needs to make sure that he does everything he did against Melvin Manhoff. What he did was he stuck the jab in his face, he got the takedown, controlled the position, and when he gets on top of you, he's just nasty as you're seeing right here. When he gets on top of you, he makes you carry all that weight. And Ryan, you've trained with him, you've felt that pressure. I don't know if he's got on top of you, you haven't told me yet, but I'm saying, you know, he's got good control, he's got good ground and pound.
Yeah, and he has volume, he doesn't stop. And we talked about this earlier, he has amazing cardio. And that's what I think is going to be the difference in this fight.
Well, his opponent tonight, he's going to take on Yagshimuradov. You know, he's relatively the unknown fighter in this tournament. You know, he's really just, you know, someone that a lot of fighters have said, like, he's the dark horse potentially, wild card. What do you know about him, Ryan Bader? Because he very well may be your next opponent.
Yeah, he may be the next big thing. We don't know a bunch, but we know he has a fast, hard right hand. You know, he's a little shorter in stature, but he moves really well. And in this fight, he's got to use his angles. He's got to mix it up with Corey and try to find his chin.
Now, Josh, he's riding an 8-fight win streak. He hasn't lost since 2015. He wants to undoubtedly come out and make a statement in his Bellator debut tonight. How does he do that?
He does that by beating Corey Anderson. Corey Anderson, when he came into Bellator, was the #4 light heavyweight fighter in the world. And so he needs to do that by making a statement that way. The way I think he does it, though, is by throwing the leg kick and setting up that overhand right. So he gets you thinking you're going low, and he comes over with that overhand right. Corey is susceptible to that because he is the taller person, so he leans back with his chin up in the air. If he can get caught by that, could be lights out for him.
All right, well, I know Ryan is going to be anxiously awaiting to see who he will face next, so let's get it back down. Cage side to Mauro Ranallo. Mo?
All right, thank you very much. The number 3 ranked Corey Anderson takes on a Bellator newcomer. The Turkmenistan Terminator is as tough as his name is to pronounce.
Во-первых, здравствуйте. Мое имя Yagshimuradov.
So the bracket has been set in first round. I've pulled out the ACA champ, the dark horse of the Bellator tournament.
Yagshimuradov.
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 You know, the new kid on the block.
Я родом из Туркменистана.
Well, I think his flag is a Turkmenistan.
Американские фанаты, многие меня не знают.
It'll be his first time, and I said go out there and make a statement.
Я думаю, в скором времени они узнают.
Mic drop. Give me this.
Кори Эндерсона, я как бы его бои когда он еще дрался в UFC, смотрел. А как спортсмен, хороший спортсмен, достойный парень, достойный спортсмен. Не, он как бы и стойкий, и в партере дерется нормально, как бы, вопросов нет. Он больше предпочитает борьбу, и в руках тоже хорошо, так нормально.
My favorite weapon, everybody knows it. You know, you go back and look at the UFC records, I left on top as wrestler. Getting involved in this tournament, I think, came from going out and just putting on a great performance, my debut in the Bellator cage. You're gonna go out there and do what you're good at, Corey. You're great at throwing a jab cross, but you're even better at taking somebody down. Like I said after the last fight, I got in the camera and said, ground and pound, baby. And that's what it is. If I get you down, you're gonna feel these hands.
Big shots.
When you get them down, you're great at keeping them down. Do it.
That's a big shot right there by Corey.
The elbows I dropped, that was something we have been working since I met my team.
Corey Anderson, victorious in his Bellator debut. Ground and pound!
Going back to some wrestling roots, baby. It was something about a tournament every Saturday that just fired me up. You can ask my coaches. I would be that guy. And because I don't see the fire in your eye, coach, let's go, baby. Time to get this bracket. I loved it.
Я хочу ворваться. Вот ворваться надо, понял? Да, туда клетку. Просто не могу дождаться, понял, этого момента.
And you know everybody's watching. And you go out there and you put on a statement and you look in their face and their eyes do this. And they're like, oh. They look at their coach. And that's the right thing. You already know. The match is won. Because you saw what I did to this guy, and you don't want it to happen to you.
Я всю жизнь был таким. Всю жизнь меня как бы многие недооценивали. Мне нравится быть воином. Ну, не знаю, может, это у меня в крови.
Not just to go out there and win, but just to impose my will. Boogie, boogie, boogie.
And now, the first quarter finalist of the evening, Dolphin Yagshimuradov.
Yagshimuradov fighting for the first time in the United States, fighting for the first time in Bellator MMA on an 8-fight winning streak. 6 of those victories have occurred before the final bell. Certainly a smaller light heavyweight at 5'11", but he appears to have the wrestling and well-rounded skills needed to stay competitive, especially in this murderer's row that is the light heavyweight World Grand Prix.
You have to be so impressed of a guy coming in his debut in this light heavyweight Grand Prix. But I have been in the cage with Dolphin, and I am telling you, he is good everywhere. For his keys to victory for this fight, movement and angles, and he has a ton of them. Land that big overhand right, and you can do damage to anybody.
Born in Turkmenistan, initially began training karate when he was young, but even as a child, he always wanted to fight, and that's how he ended up training mixed martial arts. He has a tremendous amount of respect for Corey Anderson, and it was cool to see a little of the playful side of their respective personalities. Playtime is over.
Playtime is definitely over. It is all business from here.
Tough easy.
10 of his victories have come in the first round. Made his professional MMA debut in March of 2012. And again, a tournament dark horse, the mystery man. Not a lot is known in terms of what he's been able to do before, but he has proven to be a champion where he was, and he wants to prove that he is a champion here in Bellator MMA.
And now his opponent set to make his way to the cage, Corey Overtime Anderson.
Michael C. Williams took the words "and now" out of my mouth, and here comes Corey Overtime Anderson. We know what he did in his Bellator MMA debut. We know what he is capable of doing inside the cage. A top contender wherever he has competed. And you know what? Recently, he delivered. He actually delivered his newborn baby daughter. And, well, he's looking to deliver a huge victory tonight. So, baby daughter can get a brand new pair of shoes.
Corey Anderson is just good everywhere. The one thing I'm going to say about him, he is a guy that his wrestling is outstanding. His speed is outstanding. His hands are outstanding. His keys to victory is use that speed. You're faster. So use the speed. Be smart with it. Don't just stand. Make this an MMA fight. You used to be a guy that was a wrestler. Then you became a striker. Use all of that skill and you can get a win here tonight.
He's won a tournament, the Ultimate Fighter, but now bigger stakes here in the light heavyweight World Grand Prix as we go to the tail of the tape for our first of two quarterfinal matchups.
Very simply put, that's 6'3" to 5'11", and a big advantage with a 77.5 to 72. We'll see if Corey Anderson uses that size advantage.
Here once again is Michael C. Williams.
Bellator MMA tonight in the co-main event resumes the quarterfinal round of the light heavyweight World Grand Prix. Set for 5 5-minute rounds live on Showtime. We introduce the blue corner. At 5'11", weighing in 204.5 pounds, making his Bellator debut tonight. He enters with 18 professional victories, 5 losses, 1 draw. Hailing from and proudly representing Turkmenistan, presenting Dovlejan Yagshimuradov. And across the cage, his adversary, fighting out of the red corner. At 6'3", weighing in 204.75 pounds, just off his successful debut inside the Bellator cage, he returns with 14 professional victories, 5 defeats, fighting out of Rockton, Illinois, Corey Overtime Anderson. In charge of the action, your referee, Mike Beltran.
Bring it in, gentlemen. All right, John, been over the rules already. Protect yourself at all times. Obey my commands at all times. Touch gloves now if you want. At the sound of the bell, come on out, handle your business. Let's go.
Referee is Mike Beltran. The first of a possible 5 rounds in this Bellator MMA light heavyweight World Grand Prix quarter-final matchup.
All right, gentlemen, first round. Ready to fight? Ready to fight? Handle, let's go.
Bell round 1. They are sporting the Grand Prix gloves. It's Anderson with the red tape, Yagshimuradov with the blue tape. These tournaments create a high level of continual challenges as the winners advance through the brackets. These MMA fighters, John, embrace this type of competition and validation of their abilities. It's the type of tournament that will indeed change your life.
You're looking for those challenges, and you're looking for those targets. And the one thing that...
Oh, lead right uppercut lands for Yagshimuradov.
The one thing the tournament does, it gives you that target from the beginning.
So, Yagshimuradov targeted Anderson's face.
Nice.
Calf kick to the lead leg of Anderson. Anderson trying to return the favor. And it gone in the first round. Again, the winner of this fight will meet Ryan Bader, who was with us tonight here at the Mohegan Sun Arena.
He's just 10 on 10, Corey.
Nice touch by Corey Anderson, just working and getting the range. You get a guy like Yagshimuradov who moves so much in the fight. You have to be able to be nice and calm and just wait for those moments where that comes into your range and you fire.
Anderson has split a pair of fights with UFC light heavyweight champion Jan Blachowicz, and now wanting to become a Bellator MMA champion for the first time, but needs to get past Yagshimuradov here in the quarterfinals. Winner will face Bader in the semifinals, and then of course in our main event tonight, Vadim Nemkov, newly minted as the 205-pound champion, defending the title for the first time against Phil Davis, looking to become the first ever Bellator MMA two-time light heavyweight champion. That's a rematch. Anderson back to the center of the cage.
There's that right hand that Yagshimuradov will throw so often and so violently. That's what Corey has to be careful of. That's why Ryan Bader was talking. You got to move to your right because you want to be able to take some of the power off of that shot and make it have even more distance.
And Anderson running out of space, looking for that takedown, defended well by Yagshimuradov along the fence, midpoint of the first frame.
This, as far as a tactic for Corey Anderson, is really smart because Corey does have a huge gas tank. He is a cardio monster. He doesn't get tired in fights, and so make Yagshimuradov carry your weight, make him have to use his arms to pummel inside, to control you. All of that will pay dividends as this fight goes on, especially since it's 5 rounds. Nice knee to the inside by Corey.
Nice short right uppercut again as Yagshimuradov really wants to establish that right uppercut. These two made their professional MMA debuts a year apart. Yagshimuradov in March of 2012, Anderson in March of 2013, and on the exit, that right uppercut again by Yagshimuradov.
But it missed. The one thing, if you were looking at that clinch work against the cage, the head positioning of Corey Anderson was key in what he was doing.
And we've talked about the head games that Anderson plays with himself, John, believing in himself more. And now, of course, a father for the second time, knowing the opportunity that awaits him here in this tournament. He has all the tools to win it. Every fighter in this tournament had the tools to win it coming in.
Absolutely. Nice counter strike by Corey. Doblejan going after that big right hand again. He needs to set that thing up.
Nice.
Under a minute remaining here in the opening round. Both of them going for the kick. High kick just missing for Anderson.
Nice kick.
That right there is exactly what you want to see from Corey. Straight jab right down, followed by a straight right cross. Just keep those shots clean, right down the middle. They're going to get there fast.
Final 30 seconds of a tactical start again. High stakes. Collecting that all-important data. You can pick up on any tells that you may have studied on tape. There's a spinning heel kick.
Knocked Corey. Did not land clean, but it definitely rattled him a little bit. You can see that Corey felt that.
And Yagshimuradov, man, really winding up with that right hand. All right, let's bring in our current heavyweight champion, but a man who awaits the winner of this fight in the semifinals. Ryan Bader, your thoughts on that round?
I thought Corey started to take control of that round. He's got to be careful getting those firefights with Yagshimuradov. He's explosive, but Corey is looking good. He's using his jab, and he's to stay on that outside a little bit, and he's doing good throwing those high kicks in with his punches.
Appreciate it, champ.
This is the kick by Yagshimuradov. He loves this spinning heel kick, and you notice Corey brings one arm up to block, and the kick gets by the arm. It actually lands, the leg lands on the neck. That's why you see Corey having that stumble. It had an effect on him. It was a clean shot by Yagshimuradov.
Yagshimuradov, a KO artist, 11 of his 18 wins have come due to his strikes.
All right, gentlemen, second round. Ready to fight? Ready to fight? Hell, let's go.
Well, round 2 scheduled for 5 in the light heavyweight World Grand Prix quarterfinals. And Yagshimuradov kicks off the second round with a kick to the lead leg of Anderson. Yagshimuradov definitely not taken aback by the magnitude of the moment or the spotlight. Came in here very calm, cool, and collected, and has gone about his business, John.
Gone about his business. That was a very nice kick to the body. You see Yags sitting there tapping it like, oh, go ahead, hit it again. That just tells you, oh yeah, it landed and I felt it.
Anderson looking to secure the takedown. The unofficial scorecard belongs to Big John McCarthy. Gave the opening round to Anderson, who's looking for the takedown. Well defended by Yagshimuradov.
Very well defended. The reason for that 10-9 to Anderson is he landed the bigger shots during the round. Even though Yagshimuradov had probably the biggest shot with that kick, it was the volume that Anderson was able to put on it. Again, look at the head position, Morrow. That is so important in this position against the cage. When you are using that head as a third arm and making your opponent have to move their head side to side, it weakens their ability to fight against you.
And I got to say, Anderson, when it comes to studying tape, man, this guy knows how to break it down. He says he studies his opponent's footage to the point where he knows what they're going to do because they always give certain tells. We talked about that in the opening round, but just talking to him about fighting, he has a high fight IQ.
Very high fight IQ. He's super smart about everything that's going on in the cage. He knows exactly where he wants to go with the fight. And he just has to go out and execute.
And our bantamweight champion, Juan Archuleta, he's enjoying the proceedings here tonight at Bellator 257. He is getting ready to defend his title against Sergio Pettis. That's coming up in the month of May as Bellator MMA maintaining an incredible pace here, and the pace beginning to pick up here between Anderson and Yagshimuradov.
Very nice movement, good head movement by Corey. Nice feints.
Stiff jab by Anderson.
Yagshimuradov, when he's planting his feet, you notice he's staying kind of still. There's no head movement. That's giving Corey the ability to kind of tee off on it.
Lead right hand by Anderson.
Nice.
Oh.
Behind the line. He's behind the line. Here you go.
I love how calm Yagshimuradov is. This is exactly the way he was when I was refereeing. I mean, he was out there. It was almost like he was falling asleep at one point, and then he exploded. I'm like, man, this guy he's just relaxed in the cage.
Remember another guy. It always looked like he was just getting out of bed, and then boom.
Him and Gegard.
Yeah, getting down to business. Oh, what a right hand by Yagshimuradov. And his right hand as Anderson changes levels. But again, Yagshimuradov able to defend the takedown with the underhook as Anderson wide base being employed by Yagshimuradov.
He's digging that underhook. It's a nice job by Yagshimuradov to defend. Corey now switching to the single leg. He wants to run that pipe, turn him out. This is where these guys coming from places like Turkmenistan, Russia, they're so good in the wrestling game. They're very difficult to take down. Nice job by Corey Anderson to get the fight there.
Anderson telling us he's always prepared to take his opponent down because that's what he's good at, and it's been a struggle, but he did secure the takedown against Yagshimuradov. Final minute of the second in full mount. Ground and pound here, an opportunity for Anderson, as of course Yagshimuradov just keeping himself as close to Anderson's body as possible, trying to maybe force a stand-up.
Really nice job by Corey, taking his leg, bringing it up. What he's doing is he's extending those arms. Since Yags is trying to pull him close, he just needs to start opening up, frame that head against big shots with the elbows.
Nasty elbow attack from Corey Anderson with the ground and pound, and again, Yagshimuradov trying to close the distance as Anderson Just focusing on delivering as many punishing strikes as possible in order to try to get this fight stopped here in the second round, but there's only 10 seconds left. Anderson with another nasty elbow.
Big shots. That's why you're seeing Yags starting to move right now.
Yeah, stay there, stay there. Stay there.
And Yagshimuradov surviving that storm of strikes in the final moments of the second round.
О, это тебе лучше, если он ходит. Дыши.
This was the kick to the body, right up against the ribs. Very nice placement by Corey Anderson there. You see him tapping it like, go ahead, hit it again. And this was his takedown. Blocked the leg. You saw how that right leg blocked the left leg of Yags. That's why he was able to turn him out. And then when he got to the mount, some vicious elbows by Corey Anderson from the mount position. This is how you end a fight. And this is how you tell the judges, yeah, I'm trying to finish this fight. I'm trying to get him out of here.
Go, suck his elbow, piece it.
Yagshimuradov was knocked out in September of 2015, his lone knockout loss, and was able to survive that offensive onslaught from full mount by Corey Anderson.
All right, gentlemen, third round. Ready to fight. Ready to fight. Let's go.
Bell goes to begin round 3 again. Corey Anderson with the red tape around his Grand Prix gloves, while Yagshimuradov making his first appearance in a Bellator MMA cage with the blue tape around his gloves, and Anderson bringing the fight to Yagshimuradov here in round 3.
Corey really starting to open it up. Go back to those keys to victory when I said he needs to use the full arsenal of MMA tools that he has. That's what he's doing right now in the cage.
Anderson changes levels again, looking for the takedown. And again, Yagshimuradov, well, trying to make it difficult for him. Not as difficult that time around, John.
Beautiful job of sliding that leg out, hooking his leg behind it, just pulling him down. This is what makes Corey Anderson so vicious when he gets people down. He has got great body positioning. He's able to trap the arm like he is right now.
Left hand in front of his face.
And as we've seen in his victory over Manhove and what he did in that last round, his elbows are vicious.
Yes, able to stop Melvin Manhove, the veteran striker with elbows and punches at Bellator 251. That stoppage came in the second round. Here he's trying to do the same thing to Yagshimuradov in the third round.
He's controlling that right arm of Yagshimuradov with that lace. He'd like to pull it back a little bit if he could, or drive Yags forward. Exactly what he just did. Now he's getting back to the mount position.
He's inside 90s. Come on, let's finish this. Keep that staple for you.
A lot of time on the clock.
Mount, ground and pound. Yagshimuradov trying to stave off this attack, now forced to give up his back. Anderson is riding Yagshimuradov, dropping those nasty elbows.
Corey just needs to be very smart, target his area, and hit it with power.
Anderson seeking his 7th knockout win, looking to deliver that patented ground and pound. Yagshimuradov being warned by the referee, and the fight has been stopped. Corey Anderson advances to the semifinals against Ryan Bader.
Big damage done by Corey Anderson in that third round. That was a vicious ground and pound attack. That's what you want to see from a guy that wants to be the Bellator light heavyweight champion of the world.
And for the second straight time in Bellator, Corey Anderson pounds out a victory. Or should that be ground and pounds out a victory?
He did, starting with the takedown. Watch how Corey gets this takedown. Pulls the ankle out. Beautiful job. Slides in there and then steps over into a mount. foot's kind of in a position, we'll call it a three-quarter mount, but he quickly moves it into a full mount. And from that point, he just opened up with a ground attack that Yagshimuradov was unable to defend against. He took a lot of big shots, punches and elbows. This was exactly the Corey Anderson that he talked about. This is what he said he wanted to do. He went out and performed just like he talked.
And Yagshimuradov's 8-fight winning streak goes up in smoke as he couldn't handle the smoke provided by Corey Anderson. Anderson improves to 15-5 with his 7th knockout win. And the proud papa of 2, including his newborn daughter, records an impressive victory here to move on to the semifinals.
Ground and pound!
Ground and pound is right. And hey, are you craving more fight content on the go? Interviews, breakdowns, documentaries, and more? Well, Showtime Sports digital series has you covered.
Every single day, think about this fight.
This could be your last walk. Prepare for war.
I'm actually at my best when people doubt me.
A puncher who's proven he can pound his opponent into submission with a single left hook.
Been watching y'all join, man.
We move culture, we shift culture, we are culture.
We're gonna make this legendary.
I want all the smoke.
You think that fight comes to fruition?
I think it should.
This guy might kick my ass. I ain't gonna let that happen.
You're one of my favorite guys to talk fights with.
This was the crown jewel of the combat sports weekend.
If you want to fight for the belt, fight ranked opponent.
That's what motivates me to keep doing this.
You're going in there to fight.
Coming up next, it is our main event.
All right, let's make it official with Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, the official time, 2 minutes, 15 seconds into round number 3 by TKO. He earns his place in the semifinals of the light heavyweight World Grand Prix, Corey Overtime Anderson.
And our Big John McCarthy.
DJ Nina.
Going to enjoy a few words with a man of many words, Corey Anderson.
With 2 chicks.
Corey Anderson, you put on a performance today, but I want to take you back to the first round with the spinning heel kick that he landed. You tried to block it, but it actually touched your neck. How hurt were you?
I wasn't hurt, just knocked off balance. And it was like I said, I told coach I'm fine. It just when it hit me, it not rocked me, but just took me out of the place where I was. So I had to get my feet, and he started blitzing. Or just hold composure and make it to the next round.
We talked about you being a complete martial artist, a guy that has stand-up but has wrestling. You used your wrestling beautifully. 2 beautiful takedowns. Let's talk about the 3rd round. When you took that ankle out, you brought him to the ground, you got to mount quick. Your ground and pound was vicious. What were you thinking as far as him being able to take some of the shots that he took?
I mean, the first thing I was thinking was, Nicotone give me in this position all the time, my coach, and it sucks. So I know if I get him there, I got to do what he says, you know. My coaches, they instill the coach, Ricardo, Nick, the ground game is all of them. I'm just a product of their environment. The striking, Mark Henry. Without them, the performance would have been impossible. When I got him down, literally was just thinking, what does Nick do to me when we get here? And the same thing he showed me. You got to float, keep your knees pinched. If he turns, you got to be able to go with him and stop, put the elbows. Ricardo says, put the hands to the face, keep the forearm in his neck, hold him, hit him short elbows, little hammer fist, posture up, throw big. So the only thing going through my mind was do what we do every day.
Well, that was 2 beautiful performances in a row. That now moves you into the semifinals of the light heavyweight World Grand Prix. Ryan Bader, step on up here real quick. Your opponent, you know already, is going to be Ryan Bader. Ryan, give me a little bit on the performance you saw from Corey Anderson.
Corey, that was impressive. Came in here, imposed your will, did what you had to do, and now you got me.
Yeah. No, now you got me.
That's
As the words of DC, one person in the group always knows.
Love the eyes. Gentlemen, get together for that stare down.
So our first semi-final matchup in the $1 million Bellator MMA Light Heavyweight World Grand Prix is set. Corey Anderson will collide with Ryan Bader for an opportunity to move on to the final. As we look at the updated brackets, our first semifinal has now been booked. Bader versus Anderson still to come tonight. We will see Vadim Nemkov defend the title against Phil Davis in a rematch. And then coming up on Friday, May 21st, or make that May 7th, excuse me, Yoel Romero battles Anthony Rumble Johnson in a much anticipated quarterfinal bout. Anthony, it's been 4 years since you walked out of the cage as a professional mixed martial artist. What led to the decision to walk back in with Bellator MMA?
You know, I saw a perfect opportunity, so why not take it? You know what I mean? Bellator is an awesome organization. Why not? Why not add to the firepower that they already have? So who wouldn't want to be a part of a great organization like this, man? And they have, you know, great 205ers, plenty of competition, the new faces, a couple of old faces, but to me, man, right now I'm having fun, I'm loving life, and you know, why not do that with Bellator?
Speaking of great 205ers, you are a part of the stacked light heavyweight world Grand Prix. In fact, your battle with fellow Bellator MMA newcomer Yoel Romero will wrap up the opening round as the co-main event of Bellator 258 coming up on Friday, May 7. Talk about getting it on with Romero right away. All of us are expecting fistic fireworks. Is that what we're going to witness?
We'll see. You know how I fight, man. I come out there and throw bombs, and if you get in the way and get hit, that's that's just what happens. You know, Romero is a hell of an athlete. You know, we've all have watched him fight, and for his age, which to me doesn't play a factor at all. Like, he's a beast. He's a beast. So I'm excited to fight a man of his caliber. You know, he's a true challenge to anybody that he faces. And I look forward to testing myself against him. He's definitely an opponent that I respect, somebody that I know I'll enjoy fighting, and the fans will enjoy it too.
You're already 2-0 against fellow tournament participants Ryan Bader, who advanced to the semifinals last week, and Phil Davis, who is just minutes away from challenging Vadim Nemkov for the 205-pound belt in another quarterfinal matchup in the tournament. How do you see this main event playing out? Who do you think you will face in the semifinals?
Right now, man, I can't look past Yoel. I really can't. I don't look that far ahead. I mean, I have goals, but right now I got one of the toughest individuals you can possibly face, you know, in my face, May 7th. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I just got to focus on Yoel, and, you know, I'm going to just let the dice roll, and, you know, the way they're going to roll, you know what I mean? And just whoever, you know, makes it to the next round, you know, I'll focus on that later. But right now I need to focus on one individual. Everybody else is not even on my radar right now. I just gotta focus on the man that's trying to knock my head off.
Speaking of knocking heads off, 16 of 22 victories have come due to your ferocious power. It is the most anticipated matchup in the opening round of the Bellator MMA Light Heavyweight World Grand Prix. Welcome to Bellator, Anthony. Can't wait for you to meet Yoel Romero on Friday, May 7th.
We are just 3 weeks out from this light heavyweight clash where Rumble Johnson and the People's Champ Yoel Romero makes their first walk to the Bellator cage. That's May 7th. Two great additions to the Bellator roster with very storied careers. You got to assume it. They're going to be taking a moment away from training tonight, and we'll be watching and studying what happens next, because the winner of Johnson Romero will be up for a title shot and face the winner of tonight's main event, world champion Vadim Nemkov meets Mr. Wonderful Phil Davis for a second time. Now, Vadim Nemkov has gone through a lot of former champions to become the champ for, actually, to be exact. You know, and he is probably the only closest that he's come to losing was in that fight against Phil Davis, a split decision win for him. So if styles makes fight, Josh, what was it about Phil Davis in that fight that gave Nemkov so much difficulty?
It was the third round. And I think after talking with Phil this week, he talked about how the third round was the key, and the key was to utilize his wrestling. What happened in the very beginning, Nemkov was actually able to handle Phil Davis, push him around a little bit, get the takedowns like as you're seeing. But as the fight rolled on into the third round, Nemkov started to tire a little bit. Phil started touching him with the hands, and Phil started utilizing his wrestling and started working to his submissions. He has got one of the best submission games in the game. He just doesn't utilize his wrestling to get it there, Ryan.
Yeah, and he's so heavy on top. So he needs to go out there and impose his will in the first couple of rounds. Steal one of those rounds, and then, you know, third, fourth, and fifth, do what he did in that last fight. But open up a little more, take a little more risks. But, I mean, you got Vadim Nemkov in front of you throwing an onslaught of offense at you.
I also feel that if Phil gets in his grill right away, like Ryan is saying, if you go ahead and you start pushing the pace on Nemkov, it's going to be an easier night for Phil Davis later on in the fight.
Well, you know, an interesting little fact here is Vadim Nemkov told us this week that when he first fought Phil Davis, he wasn't mentally prepared. He said, I was so caught up in the big name of Phil Davis that I was actually worried when I came in. He said, tonight, no, it's not the case. I'm coming in. I beat 4 former champs. He's going to see, he says, a different Vadim Nemkov inside the cage tonight.
What is he talking about? He trains with Fedor Emelianenko. What are you talking about? No, I understand. Yeah. Ryan, you understand. Like when you fought Machida the first time, you were a different fighter this time around, and it showed.
Yeah, mindset coming in. He's gonna go in there and use his offense and not worry about what Phil's gonna do, but worry about what he's going to do.
Well, you know, we talked about, he says we're going to see a different fighter inside the cage from that first fight. You've seen him most recently, a different fighter from that first one. So what was for you? I mean, we've talked about it, the biggest struggle in that fight against Nemkov. What was the biggest challenge?
He has great footwork. He can close the distance and get out of the way really easily. And then he has the ability to make, you know, decisions in there, usually the right ones. And his striking, he can do it all. He can wrestle, his jiu-jitsu game. The whole thing with Phil is he needs to get up. If he gets taken down, if he gets up once, he's going to have more confidence to go ahead and use more offense.
Well, Ryan touched on it. What it is with Nemkov is the footwork. The footwork is key, and it was very evident with you against him, as well as when he hits his back. If Phil does take him down, he has a very active guard from his back. He swivels his hips a lot. He tries to attack, and then when you got him down, you actually backed out and let him get back to his feet. So that right there, I think, will pose some threats. But with Phil Davis is very comfortable on the ground and attacking the submissions, like he said in that last fight.
Well, Phil Davis told us he's not going to let this one go to the judges this time. He said, I'm not going to go there. He says, I know that I'm going to have to come in here and I'm going to have to rip that victory from Vadim Nemkov. He's coming in confident, I would say, just in hearing him talk this week. Josh, what do you think?
Look, he should be confident. He has all the tools to do what he's doing. Like here, you got the highlights here that you're showing with Liam McGarry. He's touching him with his hands and then getting to the takedown. As he does that, he dominates the position. And here we go, like I'm talking, Ryan. The submissions will be key against Vadim Nemkov. Carl Albrechtsen, who we saw earlier tonight, had a good performance against Vadim's brother. But Phil getting the takedown, reversing him, dominating the top position, finishing with the submissions. He's doing the same thing. He's just constantly working on people like you see here with Machida. You know how hard it is to get your hands on Machida. Yep. You just dealt with it again. I mean, tell me how difficult this is for Phil Davis.
Yeah, you know, Machida, he went out there and, you know, solved the puzzle, basically. And Phil is also a puzzle. And so, you know, Phil is so good at going in there, staying on the outside, you know, and getting his takedowns when he needs to get them. And at the end of the day, he has been wanting to fight for this belt for a long time. And now his chance is here to go out there, win that belt, and continue defending that belt throughout this light heavyweight tournament.
Well, we've seen before in the past, 5-round fights, it favors wrestlers. And if he utilizes his wrestling from the very beginning, I'm telling you right now, he will dominate this fight.
I know you've been saying it all day long. Key is wrestling, wrestling, wrestling. We want to see him use his wrestling. All right, well, both men know the weight that comes with wearing the belt. Both believe the title of world champion belongs to them, but for Vadim Nemkov and Phil Davis, their inevitable greatness began to bud at a young age.
My best friend in 7th grade, he asked me to try out for the wrestling team with him. It was terrible. I got beat up in wrestling practice. I was smelly. I was dirty. It was awful. I'll never go back. Talking with my mother, she said, just do it till the end of the week and then quit. And I just forgot to quit. I forgot to quit.
Когда мы тренировались в поселке, у нас были тренировки утром, перед школой. В 7 утра мы уже приходили на тренировку. Дети с моего класса там смотрели какие-то мультики. Потом на следующий день приходили, все это обсуждали. Все это время был на тренировке, я не понимал, о чем идет речь.
Watching fights growing up, I would see these guys in the cage fighting, and I would say, this is stupid. There's no way I'll let somebody kick me in the dang head. These guys are crazy. I watched it enough, and then I was like, this isn't half bad. You know, maybe I can give it a go. Or at least give it to the end of the week. You know.
Службу я проходил в бригаде специального назначения. Много стрелял, прыгал с парашютом. Служба в армии очень понравилась. Она закалила меня, мой характер. Все результаты начались после армии.
I'm all about competing. I want to compete against each and every one of the guys in this tournament. Because I want the respect that comes with beating each and every one of those guys.
Ну и если честно, я считаю, что наша подгруппа, мой бой с Филом Дэвисом и Ромеро Рамбл, это наша подгруппа более жесткая, чем другая подгруппа.
I did a couple of things that ended up costing me the fight. Number one, I gave up a takedown. And a lot of times I will give up positions in order to gain the position that I want. It works with most guys. It did not work with him.
Phil Davis on the ground, he's a beast.
And I didn't finish my favorite position, Kimura, and that just, man, it can't happen. If I get 2 hands on your wrist, I'm breaking it. If at any point I put 2 hands on your wrist, it's broke. That's how I live life.
Если честно, сейчас я сконцентрирован на своем поединке с Филом Дэвисом. Я считаю, что по каждому бойцу можно подобрать ключик. У всех есть сильные и слабые стороны. Фил Дэвис, например, он хорошо борется и хорошо бьет. И он терпеливый и идет до конца всегда.
You know, what makes Nemkov such a dangerous opponent, he's very versatile. He has a high fighter IQ, and he knows where to put his foot on the gas and where to lean into his advantages. I'm gonna beat you up with a smile, because I'm happy, and I don't hate you. God bless you, I'm gonna beat you up.
Я считаю, что эти жертвы стоят того, потому что вкус победы – это ни с чем не сравнимо. А если еще на плече пояс висит, то это ощущение просто незабываемое.
Set now to make his way to the cage, the challenger, Phil, Mr. Wonderful Davis.
Davis has already won a one-night, 4-man Bellator MMA light heavyweight world Grand Prix back in 2015. The next year at Bellator 163, defeated Liam McGeary to win the belt, but immediately dropped it to Ryan Bader at Bellator 180. Since then, Davis has gone 5-1. Tonight, he gets to try and avenge his last loss while riding a 3-fight win streak. He is 2-1 in career rematches.
He is 2-1, but this is a career rematch that he needs to start fast. It's one of the things I always talk about with Phil. Sometimes Phil just gets into that flow, and you look and you think, man, he could do more, and that's what he really needs to start off doing in this fight. His keys to victory is push the pace early in the fight. Make Nemkov work at a pace he's not comfortable with, and wrestle when the opportunity comes. Don't force it, but when it comes, take advantage of it and do it.
Davis said the biggest thing that stands out in his memory about his last fight with Nemkov is that he's a really good kicker.
And now, the reigning Bellator light heavyweight world champion, Vadim Nemkov.
28-year-old Vadim Nemkov walking to the Bellator MMA cage for the first time as the light heavyweight champion, the 8th in promotional history. And of course, coming into this fight, and John, I know you will have his keys to victory here momentarily, but he felt that his speed was the biggest advantage in the first fight. It will be his biggest advantage in the sequel.
Well, he does have speed, and he is just getting better as a fighter all the time. I first watched Nemkov when he was an amateur, worked with him when he was young as a pro, and now he is just head and shoulders a different fighter. His keys to victory for this: attack the legs with your kicks. You are an outstanding kicker. Low kicks, high kicks, all good. Frustrate him with a diverse attack. Don't just be that stand-up fighter. You can take him down at times. You can make him guess, and that's what you need to do.
All right, for our main event, the second of our 2 quarterfinal matchups tonight. This one for the Bellator MMA Light Heavyweight World Championship. Let's go to the tail of the tape.
Tail of the tape, both have outstanding records. Look at the difference in age. That's really the only difference you have to look at here. The reach is very similar. This is gonna be fantastic.
The champion, Nemkov, the #2 ranked Davis, for the title and a spot in the Grand Prix semifinals with the official introductions. Here once again is Michael C. Williams.
Bellator MMA live on Showtime from Mohegan Sun Arena. The time has come for fight number 3 of the light heavyweight World Grand Prix quarterfinals. Tonight's main event, 5 5-minute rounds for the Bellator Light Heavyweight World Championship. Sanctioned by the Mohegan Tribe Department of Athletic Regulation Chairman James Gessner, President of Sports and Entertainment Tom Cantone, and supervising at cage side Director Mike Mazzulli. And now, first introducing the blue corner. At 6'2", weighing in 205 pounds even, the former Bellator World Champion as a professional enters with 22 victories, 5 losses, fighting out of San Diego, California, by way of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, the challenger, Phil, Mr. Wonderful Davis. And across the cage, the champion fights out of the red corner. At 6 foot, weighing in 204.5 pounds. In his first title defense, he stands perfect inside the Bellator cage at 5-0, and overall, as a professional, 13 victories, just 2 defeats. Fighting out of Stariovsko, Russia, he is the defending Bellator Light Heavyweight World Champion, Vadim Nemkov. And the referee, Dan Mergliata.
All right, gentlemen. All right, guys, been through the rules in the locker room. I want you to obey my commands at all times. I want you to protect yourselves at all times. If you want to touch gloves for luck, do it now. Good luck to both of you.
Dan Mergliata set to referee our main event tonight for the Bellator MMA Light Heavyweight Championship in this quarterfinal in the Light Heavyweight World Grand Prix. That is what is at stake. That plus a spot in the semi-finals. Phil Davis riding a 3-fight win streak. The champion, a 7-fight win streak. This is round number 4 between Davis and Nemkov, the champion with red tape around his Grand Prix gloves, and Davis with blue tape. And you alluded to the fact that both Davis and Bader were able to take Nemkov down in their previous meetings. We know that Davis is capable of grinding out wins, but John, we've mentioned this before, he's sometimes his own worst enemy with low offensive output.
Yeah, I really want to see Phil start off just a little bit quicker than he normally does. Push the pace on Vadim. Make him work, make him be a little uncomfortable. Doesn't have to be for the whole round. Just in certain moments, make him have to just have that RPM going a little high.
Calf kick lands for the champion on the lead leg of Davis, and the champion sticks Davis with a jab to the face. Nemkov, trained by the last emperor, the legendary Fyodor Emelianenko. Emelianenko knows about competing in Grand Prix and Pride Fighting Championships as they renew acquaintances here in this, the first of a possible 5 rounds.
Well, one of the things I always say is tough as a champion, you've got the target on your back, you don't have the target on your opponent. Vadim has made it a statement that he wants to finish Phil Davis. Phil has never been finished in a fight. He wants to be the first. Nice right hand by Vadim.
Double jab, trying to blind Davis with the jab before following up with that overhand right. Again, attacking the lower leg, the calf kick. The de rigueur calf kick in MMA.
Well, that is,
oh, nice right hand by Nemkov.
Off balance by Phil, but the shot definitely landed. He was off balance. That's the kick that I was talking about. Vadim needs to attack that leg.
Oh, and an exchange again where Nemkov was able to land a right. Nemkov has 7 wins via first-round knockout, while Phil Davis has 3 first-round KO victories as we near the midpoint of our opening round. Nemkov again working the jab.
That's one of the differences right now in Nemkov from 2.5 years ago. Nemkov was very good with his movement before, used his hands, but he didn't have the jab. He didn't work off of the jab the same.
There is Fedor Emelianenko and Nemkov's older brother, who we saw in action earlier tonight on the prelims. 2 minutes remaining here in the first round. Haven't seen a lot of the kicks other than the kick. Well, on cue, they're attacking the calf, but remember, it was a head kick followed by punches that landed Nemkov the championship against Ryan Bader.
It was, but you can see right now as Vadim is moving, he keeps on trying to step off to his left to land that big looping overhand right. So far, Phil has not fallen for it. Just needs to be very careful of where he places his chin as he's coming out.
Final minute here in the opening round. And again, we talk about the low offensive output for Phil Davis. Seeing shades of that again here in the opening round, John.
You know, it's you watch fighters for so long, and they're so good. And we've had, you know, other fighters. Benson Henderson is a guy who usually starts a little slow, and even though he tries to just bring up that pace in the beginning, they have a normal flow. They like to look, look at what their opponent's doing, and you've got to step on the gas at times in the beginning.
Right now, Nemkov has thrown 50 punches, Davis 27. Davis has landed only 4 punches. Nemkov 17 here in the final seconds of the first round.
Nice body kick by Phil.
But a good start by the Bellator MMA light heavyweight champion, Vadim Nemkov, in his maiden voyage as the man with the gold. Slips and falls as we come to the end of the first.
Break. Good job, John.
Well, coming up on Friday, May 7th, Juan the Spaniard Archuleta defends his bantamweight belt against #1 contender Sergio Pettis. Plus, we close out the quarterfinals in the light heavyweight world Grand Prix when Anthony Rumble Johnson collides with Yoel Romero. That's Friday, May 7th, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, only on Showtime.
Anything that's long, that's going to drive him into something, okay? He's having trouble finding you. If you feel his speed, all right, you're feeling his speed fine, you're reading everything fine, he can't find you. He's having trouble. Use it. Okay?
Say it again. Whenever you want to get
Да, расслабься. Чуть зажимайся, нормально. Расслабишься, полетит все.
Second round, gentlemen. Let's go. Fight.
Round number 2 scheduled for 5 in the Bellator MMA Light Heavyweight World Grand Prix quarterfinals. What did you think of the advice cooked up by Phil Davis' corner in between rounds, John?
I didn't quite agree with it right now because he's saying they're basically telling Phil he's having a hard time finding you. No, that's just not true. You take a look at the punch stats, you look at what happened. I would say that Vadim is way ahead as far as landing shots. But
Davis blocked
right hand by Davis.
High kick and then lands the right hand. So Davis definitely a more aggressive start here in the second round, getting busier with his feet. And there's a counter right hand over the top by Nemkov.
What you just saw out of Phil, that's a left.
Oh, a cut around the left eye of the champion Nemkov. I don't know if that was a punch or clash of heads.
Phil likes to take a big step off to his left with his leg and throw that lunging right, but he throws it flat. He doesn't overhand it. He likes to throw it flat. That might be what actually cut Nemkov.
As of now, the blood just trickling down the side of the champion's face. It's not inhibiting his view, it appears. Coming up on a minute and a half gone in the second stanza. And again, a lot of feinting, but not a lot of leather being thrown. There's a 1-2 combination that lands for Nemkov. And the kick by Davis.
Phil Davis getting a little bit more aggressive, but still trying to be careful with what's going on. Again, he landed that big right hand. That was the cause of the cut. But since that point, it's kind of held back a little bit. Hasn't thrown as much. Just need to see a little more output.
The main event of Bellator 257 for the Bellator Light Heavyweight Championship in this, the Light Heavyweight World Grand Prix. Mauro Ranallo, Big John McCarthy, cage side. We are joined by Jen Brown, Josh Thompson, and Ryan Bader at the fight desk.
Nice counterattack by Vadim.
Midway point of the second round. Inside leg kick lands for Davis.
That jab has found a home repeatedly for Nemkov. Phil needs to just get his head off that center line.
Jab lands again. This time he drops Davis. Nemkov pouncing on Phil Davis, who got dropped by that combination. Davis now looking for the takedown. Picking up the single leg, wants to run that pike, but it's being defended here by Nemkov.
He's not just trying to wrestle, he's trying to close that gap and stop what Nemkov is able to do in hurting him at this point. He took a big shot. He needs to have this type of clinch to get his wits back in place so he can continue in the fight.
As Big John mentioned earlier, Phil Davis has never been stopped. This is his 29th professional fight as a mixed martial artist. A minute and a half left in the second. Davis trying to take Nemkov down here in round 2 and proving to be very difficult as Nemkov's looking for the guillotine.
He's got that in place. Nice job by Phil backing out, but you can tell it was tight by the way that Phil reacted.
Again, Nemkov launching the right hand. Final minute of the second. Been a strong round for the champion, including a knockdown of the challenger, Phil Davis.
Really, we've seen a repeat of the first fight, but a little bit better performance by Nemkov in this 2 rounds than we saw in the first 2 rounds. He is up to his game.
And he is sticking to the striking. I remember, surprised some with that high amplitude takedown of Phil Davis in the first fight. 30 seconds left in the second.
30 seconds.
Wow, both guys swinging on right there.
Swing and a miss. 15 seconds left, and again, Davis loading up, looking, fighting for the takedown. Nemkov with the knee up the middle as we come to the end of round 2. Great round for the champion, Nemkov.
Good job. Good job.
Seeing the replay, this is what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
There's that right hand right there. That's the one that caused the cut on the corner of the upper eyebrow of Vadim Nemkov. But these shots, you can see.
A little off balance.
Coming back, a little bit off balance going back, but just a barrage of shots by Vadim, touching it. Actually, I almost think that it was more also the foot being stepped on
that's
helped
tripping
Vadim in bringing Phil Davis down.
Driving. When he's right in front of you, you gotta explode. 3-2 hard, 2-5, stuff that carries you forward. Let your combo carry you forward.
All right, seconds out. Let's go, guys.
Phil Davis made his MMA debut in October of 2008. The champion Nemkov debuted in May of 2013. They begin round number 3 here in the Bellator 257 main event. Nemkov's title and a spot in the Grand Prix semifinals at stake. It's the champion Nemkov in the red tape around the Grand Prix gloves, while the challenger Davis has the blue tape around his gloves.
Continuously, we're seeing Vadim Nemkov get the better of the exchanges. When those exchanges take place, he's the one usually landing the better, cleaner shots. Phil needs to start working that jab.
That kick was blocked by Davis, who was sticking out the jab. Front kick by Davis, a push kick that didn't land, and Nemkov really doing business with that jab, as you mentioned, John. Really effective.
But one of the things he's really given up on is the kicks. He's that leg kick he's kind of gotten away from. Kicks to the body, could bring the kicks up high. He needs to bring that back into his game.
There's a calf kick by Davis to the lead leg of Nemkov.
That was a hard kick by Phil Davis.
And again, it's a huge edge for the champion in terms of total strikes landed. We talk about that low offensive output for Phil Davis, and it continues to be the bane of his existence, John.
Yeah, well, obviously in the first fight, the third round was the round that Phil Davis did really well in. And he needs to turn this fight around, because right now I have him down 2 rounds to none.
He continues to get tagged upstairs by Nemkov. Nemkov again, blinding him with the jab, and then follows up with the right. The kick from Davis, off-balance kick.
Off balance. Nemkov is starting to overextend a little bit too. Watch that big right hand that he's throwing. He's getting himself out of position.
Double jab, follows up with the right. Under 3 minutes left in the third.
Все время останавливай, все время тормози. Вышел чуть ближе, кидай левую сразу. Нет, ты сама.
Davis with another low kick. And again, that right hand lands for Nemkov, and Davis comes back with a right.
He does. Nemkov sometimes is starting to lunge a little bit. He needs to just move his feet in. Don't lunge.
Вадя, раунд может забрать. Давай,
Davis has to try to find a way to time that 1-2 by Nemkov.
Nemkov is throwing that 1-2 and that big looping right hand. If Phil Davis could just take a little bit of a lean off to the side and come with a counter, his opponent is open for that strike to land.
Stiff jab employed by Nemkov. Culminates that combination with a body kick. There's a right cross that almost landed for Davis. Davis 2 inches taller and has a 2-inch reach advantage, although not taking advantage of it.
Sometimes it's all about the angles. The real difference in this fight as far as what has made, in my opinion, Vadim have success is that jab. He keeps on sticking that jab in the middle of Phil's face, and he's able to then land the right hand off of it. That jab has been a huge difference in this fight.
Davis trying to land that chopping right hand again, John, and not being able to find the distance.
And one of the things I really felt that Phil Davis needed to do was not so much go for the takedown so much, but at least when he got Nemkov close to the cage, push him against the cage. Go a la Randy Couture as far as just making him have to carry your weight. Hit him with little dirty boxing, bring the knees in, all those things just to wear him down and slow him out. He hasn't done any of those.
He's not dictating the terms of the pace. It's Nemkov that comes forward. Now Davis comes forward, lands a knee to the body on the exit.
After a clean left hook to the body by Nemkov.
Final 20 seconds of the third. Nemkov again coming forward with a 1-2, and it appears we are headed. Oh, and Nemkov changes levels, gets that takedown on Davis as we are headed to the championship rounds of this quarterfinal matchup in the Grand Prix.
Volume, volume, volume. You're having success when you start coming forward. You're driving them into things, okay? Gotta keep the volume.
Here's Vadim using that jab to try to bring that right hand over the top. Nice leg kick, bringing him off balance by Phil Davis. Same situation. Then you see Nemkov, that jab, brings his face, boom, there's the right hand touching the chin a little bit, just at the end of it. And then this takedown right at the end by Nemkov. One of the things that you're really seeing, Mauro, is think about that mountain training, all of that high altitude, and take a look at the diaphragm of Vadim Nemkov. He is not tired right now.
Conditioning is what will serve you well in these championship rounds as we head into round number 4. Nemkov's first title defense against a guy looking to become the first ever two-time Bellator light heavyweight champ in Phil Davis. And you hear the Davis corner. Sorry, John. It's time to pump up the volume.
It is. They're right. Right now, I've got Phil Davis basically down 3 rounds out of the 3 rounds that they've fought. So he needs to turn this up. He is good enough. He's got enough potential. He can take a fight at any moment and turn this thing around. So he needs to start putting some pressure on Vadim. Figure out that jab, get his head off the center line, and start bringing him.
Davis with 2 wins over Lyoto Machida, including in his last fight, holds victories over the likes of Alexander Gustafsson, Antonio Rogerio Nogueira, King Mo, Glover Teixeira. I mean, he has an impressive resume. You heard Ryan Bader say maybe one of the most underrated fighters in Bellator, and yet here he is in tough against Nemkov, the champion, who's been using the fundamental, the jab.
It's exactly what he's been using. He has basically focused his attack off of that left.
There's a combination for Davis.
Slipped off the top a little bit, but at least Phil's throwing. He's got to throw. He's got to go after him. Nemkov needs to go back to that leg kick. Phil trying to time those kicks to the body as he's throwing.
Now two left eye. Dive back.
2 minutes gone here in the 4th. Total punches landed. A wipeout for Nemkov. And just a 12.5% rate in terms of success for Davis. There needs to be an uptick in offense. Both guys here, championship rounds. Who wants this fight? Who wants to walk out as the champion and move on to the semifinals? Nemkov has been content to continue to deliver the jab and is ahead on Big John's unofficial scorecard. And now Davis trying to drum up some offense.
That was nice. Nice kick to the body by Phil. Tight little kick.
You know, Nemkov telling us all week he was going to stop Phil Davis. That was his goal, his intent, as he changes levels, looking for the takedown, but it's Davis defending, gets the back of Nemkov momentarily before they come apart.
Both guys are so slippery right now, it's hard to hold on to anything.
Outside, Phil, break him down. Give him a way out. Now right straight, make it straight. And now right outside, Phil.
Calf kick by Nemkov before moving to his left. A minute and a half left in this, the penultimate round of our main event. As again, Nemkov looking for the takedown, stifled by Davis.
This is a situation right here. This is where Phil needs to really open up. Open up with those knees. Really get after it. Don't hold back. You've got to create some action right now. Dirty box.
We've seen much improved cardio out of the champion as we talk about him training at high altitude in the mountains and serving them well. Oh, gets clutched with that left from Davis. Under a minute left here in the fourth round.
That's the kind of punch that can change the fight in just one moment. Phil needs to go after that again.
Tight punches. Do that fight. We got it here, Phil. Don't worry about it. 8 seconds. Let it go. Let it go. 8 seconds. You got it. You got it.
Get by Davis, the right hand from Nemkov. Again, that right hand landed just behind the ear for Davis, and that has caught the attention of the champion Nemkov. Heading into the final 15 seconds of the fourth. If Davis can continue to land that right hand, things could change in the fifth and final round. The Bellator Light Heavyweight Championship up for grabs. It's down to the final 5 minutes.
A little bit difference in this round. Nemkov took a lot more steps backwards than he did forward in this round. Phil trying to put the pressure on him. See the nice little swing. Trying to come with a kick. Both guys just missing just a little bit. Here's a good exchange. Touch on both of them. Love that. Phil landed a big right hand. That was that big right hand. That was a big difference maker in that round.
Both fighters showing the vestiges of battle as we come down to the fifth and a final round. Nemkov looking for his 8th straight win. His first successful title defense. Davis looking for 4th consecutive victory since losing to Nemkov in their first meeting in November 2018.
Or did you just point out that this is the first time Nemkov has ever been in a 5th round?
I think you just did. I was going to ask you about how the unofficial scorecard might look after 4 rounds. We got some drama in this 5th.
The drama's gone. I have right now Vadim up 3 rounds to 1. I gave that last round to Phil Davis. I thought he landed a beautiful left hook, big overhand right. Those were the telling shots of the round.
He needs more of those in the 5th.
Yes, he does. He's got to open up. He's got to go after it.
And of course, for Nemkov, He'd like to continue to work that jab as he does right there. And John, give us your take on total strikes landed.
It's real simple. Look at 129 compared to basically 50. There's a huge difference of output and what is actually landed. Nice, beautiful combination by Vadim Nemkov right there.
That's what makes combat sports so compelling, so intriguing, is that despite those stats you just see, Davis can change this fight in an instant.
It only takes one.
Blood beginning to trickle down the side of the champion's face again. Knocks Davis off balance.
More of a push.
Calf kick lands for the challenger, Phil Davis. We saw Corey Anderson stop Yagshimuradov in our first quarterfinal match. Here we are 3 minutes away from going the 25-minute distance here in our main event. Right hand by Nemkov, misses with the left, and Davis hands her down, moving forward, leading with his head, however. Misses with that sweeping left hook, and he's got to start putting together combinations. 2.5 minutes left, and that'll stop everything.
Sure. Based upon movement, you see that little movement right there by Nemkov as Phil was throwing the kick. Wasn't intentional.
Champion takes next to none of the 5 minutes that he's allowed to recover as we continue here.
Which is telling you something. It's not telling you anything about the groin shot that occurred, but it's telling you Vadim Nemkov believes in his conditioning, because if he was tired, he'd be taking a longer break.
We mentioned the fact that he showed even in the third round. The first fight went 3-round distance, and he began to fade in that third round thanks to the pressure that was being put on by Phil Davis, and much improved cardio and not as much pressure being put on by Phil Davis, John.
No doubt about it. You know, that's Josh Thompson talking about it. He thought that Phil Davis pushing this fight could get this into the championship rounds, and that would be the difference maker. It has not turned out that way.
You didn't have to give Josh the credit. You could have taken credit for saying that.
Why? It was wrong.
Body kick by Davis.
Good kick by Davis.
Minute and a half left in the fight. Another kick by Davis.
He's trying, man. He's putting pressure. He's coming after him.
And there's the naked shot by Nemkov, stuffed by Davis. Davis now looking for that choke, but now it's Nemkov. Slippery, sweaty, fifth and final round.
Huge difference. You got all that sweat involved.
And yet Nemkov looking to take the back, wanting to get in both hooks. And Davis now fighting for it. Knee to the midsection by Phil Davis.
These guys are so well matched.
Minute left in this championship fight. Pummeling by Davis. Both of them looking for position. 45 seconds left. Davis employing the body lock. 30 seconds left in the fight. Knee by the challenger.
Knee by the challenger, trying to bring it up high, trying to make something happen right there. Just right now, if he's in this position with these underhooks, he needs to break off. He needs to do something that's going to be a big finish.
They went the distance in Tel Aviv, Israel. That was a 3-round fight back in November 2018. Here in our main event, quarterfinals of the light heavyweight World Grand Prix, this championship fight goes the 5 full rounds.
Chloroform? Well, water, but we can put chloroform in later if you want.
Little recap on this world title fight and one of the opening rounds of the World Grand Prix. Nemkov started off well. That jab was a difference maker in this fight. He landed that low kick a little bit to the calf. Really didn't go for it, but man, he stuck with the jab and the overhand right. Phil Davis had his moments, but when Vadim went after him, that was more of a trip. I know it looked good, but we saw it was more of a trip of the foot. Phil Davis was not hurt by that, but still, it was the volume of Nemkov. He brought such volume, got Davis down on that takedown. He was just repeatedly able to do good work that made Phil Davis not effective.
Something Davis lacked, volume.
That's exactly it. You know, you take a look at the stats on it, and it was just a matter of Phil Davis right here at the end. He, going for it, trying to go to an anaconda, wasn't able to do it. Slippery. It's very hard to hold on to someone after 5 rounds. Take a look at those fight stats. More 145 strikes landed to 63. It's more than twice as many. 120 kicks landed to 24. 3 takedowns, and if you were thinking about someone getting the takedowns, you would have thought it was Phil Davis.
Yeah, you were landing.
Oh, yeah, no, I know, but it was like...
You were just thinking about it a little bit.
Yeah.
You were thinking about what he was doing a little bit that was like throwing it off. You know? You know what I mean? Yeah. You made good adjustments when it was time to coming forward. That left high behind the right hand. It was just volume.
So we await the tabulations of the judges' scorecards. Who will make it to the semifinals? Let's go to Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, having gone the distance in this world title fight, we'll go to your 3 judges at cage side. All 3, Ron McCarthy, Brian Miner, Jacob Montalvo, all have it exactly the same at 48-47 for the winner by unanimous decision, advancing in the light heavyweight World Grand Prix, and still Bellator light heavyweight world champion Vadim Nemkov.
Vadim Nemkov staves off the challenge of Phil Davis, remains Bellator light heavyweight champion, has now won 8 straight as he wins the first rematch in his professional career and books passage to the Final 4, the light heavyweight World Grand Prix, as king. Let's go to Big John.
Vadim Nemkov, congratulations on a fantastic fight. You guys went back and forth in that. It was your jab that seemed to be the big difference maker in that fight to me. What do you think about what you changed from the first fight to this fight?
Поздравляю тебя с победой. Спрашивает, что ты думаешь поменял после первого боя, подготавливаясь к этому бою?
Я особо ничего не менял. Моя задача была работать в стойке, перебивать его и защищаться от борьбы. Все у меня получилось. В принципе, боем довольны, но есть ошибки. Над чем работать.
My plan was to outstrike him today and defend the wrestling. I'm pretty happy with my performance, but I have mistakes, and I'm going to work on them for next time.
Many people were considering that you had never gone into the championship rounds. You'd never been in a 5-round fight. Your conditioning was fantastic in this fight. You pushed the pace, and you were able to get 3 takedowns where Phil Davis got none. Is that surprising even to you?
Многие думали, что дыхалки недостаточно будет до 5 раундов. И как обстановка была на 5 раундов?
Я готовился к этому бою. Я знал, что бой продлится всю дистанцию. Его очень тяжело нокаутировать и закончить бой досрочно. Поэтому я готовился и старался распределить силы на весь бой.
It's very hard to knock out Phil Davis, so I was getting ready for a 5-round fight, and I knew it was going to go the distance, so our conditioning was on point.
Well, your conditioning was fantastic. You look fantastic. Congratulations on a victory and remaining the Bellator light heavyweight champion, and congratulations on moving on in the World Light Heavyweight Grand Prix. You look fantastic.
Поздравляю тебя с проходом на следующий этап.
Спасибо большое. Спасибо большое компании Bellator. за то, что дали возможность участвовать в таком турнире Гран-при. И хотел бы передать приветы домой на родину. Хочу передать привет Андрюхе Санину, Женьке Литвину. Он у меня друг, приболел очень сильно. Ребятам передам привет в ресторан «Каша», Старую Мельницу и Белгород, Староскол, Томаровка и вся Россия. И всем, кто переживал за меня. И американским фанатам тоже привет.
Just want to say thank you to Bellator for putting such a good Grand Prix on, and thank you to all my Russian fans and American fans back home as well.
Congratulations to Vadim Nemkov, still the Bellator light heavyweight champion of the world.
Всей моей команде, всем, кто помогал готовиться, спасибо. Давайте будем помогать и готовиться к следующему Гран-при, к этапу Гран-при. Спасибо.
Vadim Nemkov successfully defends his Bellator Light Heavyweight Championship, wins his 8th straight fight, improves to a perfect 6-0 in Bellator as he wins his first rematch, defeating Phil Davis for the second time and advancing to the semifinals, where he will meet the winner of the most anticipated quarterfinal matchup, a battle of Bellator MMA newcomers Anthony Rumble Johnson, Yoel Romero. They'll do battle May 7. Let's go back to the fight desk.
Well, thanks, Mauro. All right, Vadim Nemkov there, moving on to the semifinals. Let's talk about this, guys, because when we talked to Phil Davis this week, he said, what am I going to do? I'm going to use my wrestling. Are you surprised? I mean, Josh, you came over to me, I think, in the middle of the second round. You're like, he's not using his wrestling. Were you surprised that we didn't see more of that from Phil Davis tonight?
I was extremely surprised. We talked to him at the fighter meetings. We talked to him all week, and he said, I'm going to utilize my wrestling from the very beginning. We knew that the weakness was rounds 4 and 5. He'd never been there. You're fighting someone who has never been to the championship rounds. Even though he is the champion, you've got to drag him into those deep waters. How do you do that, Ryan Bader, without using your wrestling? It baffles me right now. I don't want to criticize him too much because Phil's one of my good buddies, but it drove me crazy to watch this all develop in front of me.
The first fight, Nemkov got tired because Phil wrestled him. And I would like to see more feints out of Phil. At least make Nemkov respect that he might take him down. But we didn't see really any feints from him in the earlier rounds. And that fight was closer than I thought it was at the end on the scorecards. But just like we were saying, if Phil could have stole one of those early rounds, he might have won that fight.
Yeah, this has been the story of Phil Davis's career, though. He is a slow starter, and that started off this fight as well. If he would have started off a little bit more with the output, you heard Big John and Mauro talk about it. If he would have had more punch output and mixed in the wrestling, he would have stolen one of those other rounds and potentially have been the champion.
All right, well, Vadim Nemkov moving on to the quarterfinals. Before we get off air, though, Ryan, we got to talk about your next matchup. You found out who your opponent's going to be. You're facing Corey Anderson. We saw him get it done tonight with that vicious ground and pound. You guys are familiar with one another. What do you think about facing him next?
Yeah, he looked great, and he looked hungry, most importantly. And he's good, but I feel like I'm better at everything he's good at. And so I look forward to this fight. I look to, we're both good wrestlers, but I feel like I have heavy hands and I can put them away and move on to the finals while making a statement against Corey Anderson.
He's hungry because he just cut weight the other day and made
That is true, very true.
So you should know this.
All right. Well, hey, great job up here tonight with us. We appreciate you joining us. We look forward to seeing you in the cage. Josh, of course, great job from you tonight. All right. If you missed any portion of tonight's show, let's run it back. Check your local listings to find replays of Bellator MMA, Nemkov vs. Davis 2 on Showtime and Showtime Extreme. And don't forget, we return to the Mohegan Sun Arena in 3 weeks for Friday, May 7th. We got Juan Archuleta defending his bantamweight belt. Plus, Sergio Pettis is taken on in another great matchup. And then we're going to close out our light heavyweight World Grand Prix quarterfinals, where we've got the debut of Anthony Johnson. He's taken on Yoel Romero. It's going to be a great night of fights. All that coming up. All right, coming up next, an Encore City episode of City on the Hill, Showtime's original dramatic series starring Kevin Bacon and Aldous Hodge. New episodes airing Sundays at 10 p.m. All right, that does it for us up here at the Fight Desk. Mauro, another fantastic night of Bellator MMA fights.
Yes, that's right. Bellator 257 in the books. We started with a welterweight war. Paul Semtex Daley in his 62nd professional fight, recording his 34th career knockout as he stops Sabah Homasi To begin the proceedings, former flyweight title challenger Vita Ortega, she snapped a 2-fight losing streak, spoiling Desiree Yanez Bellator MMA debut, recording a majority decision win to improve to 5-4 under the Bellator umbrella. Then it was Corey Anderson. He spoiled John Yagshimuradov's Bellator MMA debut as well. In the first of our 2 quarterfinal contests, Anderson utilizing his trademark ground and pound to win via 3rd round TKO. And in the main event, Vadim Nemkov defeated Phil Davis for the 2nd time to maintain the light heavyweight championship via unanimous decision, booking a spot in the semi-finals. Happy birthday, Dad. Happy birthday to Senior Vice President and Executive Producer of Showtime Sports, David Dinkins Jr. For all of us here, thank you for watching Bellator 257 on Showtime.